modern. And so do you. I'm sorry, but you're a typical man of your time. And in fact, the harder you try not to be, the more you are.
Well, okay, fine. So, what's the problem?
There is no problem, except you. Because you take pride in your desire to shut yourself off from humanity, and you'll never manage to. It's like you're in quicksand. The more you struggle to get out of it, the deeper in you sink. Now apologize to Yvonne.
Yvonne's a coward.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, just plugging in my ears. Hi, there they are. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Yes. What's new with you? Anything?
We just met an hour ago to
Oh, good.
do this thing and talk about the play.
Good.
Feel
And did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Can't wait to see the result. That's great. Hi, John. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Good. This could be the week I get paid. Do you think? Maybe.
I texted you, right? I emailed you.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, that's been
Of course, this
going
Friday,
on for a few months.
Right. Of course, Friday they were all out, and nobody's gonna. And they won't be back until Monday or Tuesday. So.
Well, yeah.
So we'll see. But I did send it out again, and the vice president said, yeah, he was going to approve it. He said send a copy to his executive assistant.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was done. I sent an email asking to make sure that happened. So that was my follow-up email.
Well, what can you do? Jeez, I mean, my God.
Oh,
You said it was just a matter of all the timings of everything, right? Because I remember you saying to me when I did the thing is, oh, geez, I'm sorry I didn't have the check today. I'll probably be here next week, And then the next week we were gone.
Right. Well, there was a series of things because first it went to the dean, and he was holding on to it because he was deciding. We had a meeting with him in the fall, and we had agreed upon a budget number for the whole program.
Right.
And then in this meeting we had in the spring semester, all of a sudden he's like, "Oh no, I didn't agree to that." And Barbara and I were like, "Yes, you did."
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden he's cutting the budgets. So then he's looking at everything. That's what happened. So when he got your paperwork, well, first of all, we did a.
Bonjour.
Hey, Ange.
Hey, Ange.
Bonjour.
First, we did the first thing as a guest bonus, and then you were in the system. So then we had to do the other form for adjuncts to get paid for extra work.
Right.
Then he was holding on to it because he was deciding about the money. So I'm telling you, this has never happened to me.
Do you have anything on your speaker?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
We hear you loud and clear.
I just jammed my finger on the door trying to get the cat out. Otherwise, yes.
That pesky cat.
I know.
What do you have on your finger? Is it a splint?
Ice.
Ice.
A bag of, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's always something.
Just use the pain for your acting.
I will.
That's it. You got to.
I want to share something with you guys. I finally yesterday went to a restaurant. For all the 3 months I haven't been.
Oh yeah? What was that like?
What was that like?
Yeah, what was that like? I can't remember.
You know what? It's just kind of a weird feeling after all.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just go or did John go with you?
No, I went to see my friend in Philadelphia. I drove to Philadelphia yesterday.
Oh, what restaurant?
Oh, well, I don't remember. It's some Italian place. I don't remember what the name is.
Where is it? In Center City, Philly? Or
In Central Park, yeah.
in Center City, Philly.
Yes.
Yeah, downtown.
Yeah, around that. What is it? Second set. Seven.
Down near the seaport?
No.
Not far from the river.
Right.
Okay.
Like 2 blocks.
Oh,
away.
you went to South Street then, probably, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Were there a lot of really cool people walking around, not paying any attention to social distancing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be South Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were sitting outside, like 6 feet away. The tables are 6 feet away. but I don't know. It's just I didn't feel like food was great at all. Not because of the place, but it seems like it seems like I have spoiled myself with home cooking.
A lot of people are sick of home cooking.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to a Mexican
It's just too much
restaurant.
work. It's just too much work.
Yeah.
But
It
the
is.
quality is different, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the quality is definitely different.
Well, how did they arrange you in the restaurant? Were there fewer people let in, and did you sit far
No,
apart?
there is nobody's inside. Everybody's outside.
Outside. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Look at your hair, Eric. It's getting long.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the fright wig tonight.
Oh no, I kind of like I kind of like it. You know, it's good.
Well, you can play with it for characters, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially if you don't wash your hair for 2 days.
Oh my God. My God.
But we won't. But we have no way to know that, right? We don't have television.
Well, I didn't say I didn't wash it. I'm just saying.
Oh, are you saying I didn't wash it?
No, just a general statement.
What background do you have, Vasily? It looks like some sort of made-up background or something. What is it?
Just a
Mine?
wall.
It's just it's just the wall. Okay.
Just a wall. I mean, like if I show you this part,
I got you. Oh, okay. Oh, I love her.
I love her too. I actually went to see her personally, and I got a autograph.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool.
Who is that?
Annie Lennox.
Who?
Oh, okay.
Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me get you guys on scope here. There we go. Okay, so we're waiting for Cindy and Mel. They should be here any second. Mel is on. What? No, go ahead.
I didn't get my script yet, so I'm just going on by the monologue of what
Okay.
okay. I don't know why it's taking so long.
Oh,
Well, you know, the post office is if it's coming by U.S. Post Office, they're really screwed up. I mean,
Did you get my mail?
I did get your mail.
Oh,
Thank you.
good, good.
Yeah, yeah.
and Bill, I'd like to do, if we have time, that monologue from Chaillot.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
The trial scene.
yeah, definitely.
I took your words to heart, and I
Good.
improved. Yeah.
Good. Hey, Mel.
I know.
Hi, Mel.
Hey,
Bill,
I'm
I
just
have
getting set up.
All right. Yes, Vasily.
I have a monologue. Actually, I would like to try it, but I already did that before. I got involved into this some sort of a John. What is it called? Aaron sent it to us. Vigil.
Virtual vigil.
Virtual vigil.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, and she sent me that because they kind of wanted to do some sort of a videotape, like poems or singing or whatever. Send it out, said they would create a video. I mean, I've already sent it out, but I'm just curious, and I want to try this monologue she sent me.
Okay.
It's by James Baldwin.
Oh, good. Good.
Oh,
good.
I love James Baldwin.
Oh, yeah.
So I hadn't been very familiar with it.
Hey, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Unmute.
Turn your
Unmute yourself.
unmute yourself.
Can't hear you.
Your mute is on.
Cindy, you're
Unmute.
muted.
There
Ah,
we go.
there
I
we
couldn't
are.
find the email with the
Hey.
numbers on it.
Yeah, well, I know it's complicated. Welcome. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Good. So what were we just talking about? Oh, you were talking about your monologue, right, Vasily?
Yeah, I
What?
just want to try it. I mean, I already videotaped it and sent it out, but I want to try it again and see if I understand it. I mean, it has a lot of layers there.
Oh, good. Good, good. Is it based on one of his novels?
It's from Notes of a Native Son.
What is that a play?
No, I think that's a novel.
James Baldwin never wrote a play, did he? I don't
I
think
think
he
it's a movie.
No. Well,
Oh, Native Son is a
Poem,
movie?
isn't it a
I
poem?
think it's a movie. At least there was one with that name.
Sounds like.
I'm not very familiar with that. I never read them.
First
before,
syllable.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right. Okay, good. Well, Eric just left the picture. Good. All right. So that's what you're going to work on tonight is this monologue that you've already sent off, right? So it's too late to change anything, right? You just want to work on it because you want to work on it, right?
Yeah, I want to try it.
Okay, good. John, what are you up to tonight?
So I still have the scene,
Oh yeah, you guys have the
scene, and I'm gonna do it off book.
Oh, cool. Are all three of you doing it off book?
Not me.
No?
Eric knows a lot of it. He said he knows a lot of it, but he still needs to, especially
To
toward
look?
the end.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, actually, I did some a little bit. It seems like it's not very difficult, but
Yeah,
well,
you have very little. You have the least amount of anybody.
yeah, it's very convenient for me. I don't have to worry about it.
John's looking in the tube, going, "Yeah, I know. He had the least of all of us, and he didn't do it." Yeah, I know.
Oh, whatever.
Not saying a word. Hey, Eric.
Hi.
There you are. Okay, good. So,
And we added a line, Eric. We added a line before the scene, an extra line at the beginning of the scene that we.
I
didn't
made a
do
request.
last week.
okay, good. Does it make it more present tense? What does it do?
It just helps me with the first line. It gives me something to respond to.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
It puts it in context a little
Good.
bit.
Mel, hi. How are you? What are you going to do tonight?
I'm going to continue working on delicate balance.
Oh,
The
good.
thing I did last week.
Yeah.
So
The alcoholic speech.
Yes.
I'm not an alcoholic.
Yes, that one.
Great.
Although I drink, I'm not really an alcoholic.
A quick question. Did I send you the video last time?
Yes.
Yes.
I just don't remember what I did.
You did it immediately.
Thank you.
It was
Okay.
great.
You've been very efficient lately. You sent my solo show video the next day too, which was great. You know,
Yes, many thanks for.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that part.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
So Anj, you're going to work on the piece from Rappaport. Anything else you're going to work on?
No. That's
Okay.
just that.
All right. And Cindy, we were gonna go back and revisit the shadow box without acting, and
Yeah,
and you were gonna bring a new piece tonight. Is that right? Or one that you've been using before? Is that right?
which I think I finally found. It was the other reason I was a little behind getting on today. Yeah, this
Yeah.
should be it popping up. Let's see. What have we got? Don't you love it when it wants you to open a read-only copy
Uh
on a computer?
huh.
Let's see. I'm not sure. What is this? If I can find it, yes, but I should have it like in the, wow, this is not what I thought this was at all. I do have a monologue. I just can't find it, but I do
Okay.
have the Beverly monologue, and I'm
Okay.
still looking.
Okay. All right. But you didn't? Did you work on another piece this week besides the Beverly monologue?
Mainly worked on the one I worked on last week.
Okay. Okay. I just want to get you moving on something else,
Okay.
as soon as possible, only because I know you've been using it for a long time, and we were pretty close to it last week. So, I like you to sort of just keep a little bit further ahead. So,
Okay.
So, I mean, not for my purposes, but for your purposes, so that you get the most out of what we're trying to do.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's start with, we'll start with Mel this week. How about you? You ready to roll, Mel, or would you?
I am ready to roll. I am ready to roll. Before I go, before I start,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Is it better for me to attempt to do something off book and maybe have to take it very slowly and
Not it.
Oh,
Mel, you're frozen out. All of a
That's
sudden.
really slow.
Really.
Uh-oh.
Somebody slap her. Oh my God. I hope she knows.
It's actually not a bad still.
Well,
Looks kind of serious.
That's the moment to think about magic.
right. I mean, like you say, you usually end up freezing out like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not very attractive. Mel, we think you ought to log on again. I think that's probably the answer because we have a frozen picture of you. So.
Yeah, and she said she doesn't have good connectivity there.
Oh.
Yeah, well, But we've never had a. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. And we've never had a problem.
Oh, I think it. Well, she disappeared.
Except when people put the little post-its over the.
Seems every week somebody else has a problem with.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy it's not me. You know,
Yeah.
you sort of feel personally responsible when it happens. You know, it's like, but
Right, exactly.
not so much. Well, I'm sure we'll wait for a second till she comes back, and if she doesn't come back right away, we'll start with somebody else and get her when she comes back. Does anybody have any questions based on one of the really cool things that's happening with this class is we've had some really good discussions the last couple of weeks. That have I just think filled out what we've been talking about for longer, and it's strange. I love that kind of discussion in the class because sometimes you guys are thinking things but don't verbalize it, and I can't help you as much when you don't verbalize exactly what's going on.
Well, I have a question. Should I ask before I do the monologue, or can I ask you now?
Well, please ask me now
About the monologue, because it's a strange. It's not a sort of a conceit that I've ever encountered before.
Yes.
Right. So it's not the rag picker. He's playing a part.
But it is the rag picker, but it's the rag picker's vision of what a rich person, of who a rich person is. I mean, it's his creative vision,
How he would try to defend himself in a court surrounded by creatives.
Yeah, and also, there's a little tongue in cheek in it. I mean, he's having a good time. He knows these people so well that he can role play them and have a good time role playing them. This is a case where you're role playing the whole piece. The whole piece is out of his fertile imagination. I mean.
Okay.
Okay,
so he's putting on offense.
Yeah,
right?
He's putting on what he
sees. He worships money.
Right.
So it's a little. Is it a little heightened? Is it sort of a little sort of? I don't mean caricature. I don't mean
no. Yeah, it's heightened? Playful. It's playful.
Playful. Okay.
It's playful in the most greedy ways. And he has a great time doing it. We were just going over a question Eric got till we got you back, Mel. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Shit.
Either she's thinking really hard, or
no, she's going fuck right now. She's going.
Oh, hey Bill, I found it.
You found it? Oh, good. What is it? What is yours from, Cindy?
Well, actually, it's an original piece. It's called A Sense of Entitlement, and it was written by a friend of mine named Joseph Fuqua, who works at the Rubicon Theater Company.
Okay.
That's something normal people would do?
Well, listen, we'll listen to it. I mean, one of my ugly tenets is that when you're trying to create a really great audition show for yourself or create your audition pieces, that you should pull from the best writers. So,
you're gonna write me something, okay?
No, I want you to pull from the best writers, and I really mean that.
You mean like Shakespeare, Shaw?
Well, I think Woody Allen's a great writer. So I mean, it could be anybody who's got some chops.
Okay.
Suzanne Summers, great writer.
Suzanne Summers. Hi, Mel. Are you back now?
I'm back.
What the hell
Hey. Your hair looks nice.
I have two different. My what?
Your hair
Orange, what
looks
did you?
nice. Your hair looks great.
My hair?
It looks
Oh my
great.
God.
That's good.
It looks a bit weird, but who knows? I don't know. I cut a big hunk of it. It was all sticking up, and I went. So I don't know what it's like back here, but you can't see that, so that's all right.
Okay. All right. So.
Well, all right then. Well, all right.
So do we have your problem figured? I mean, do you have your problem figured out?
I had a question for you from a training point of view.
Okay.
When one will be struggling with the lines, is it better to just go ahead and do it anyway and struggle, or is it better to just go, no, I'll read it. Well,
It
not
depends
exactly read it.
It depends on your situation. For if you're at that point where you know the lines, but you don't really know them, like, click, 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 where that. I think it's always best, if it's possible, for you to run through it with somebody in the room who can cue you, when you screw up. In other words, so that you can practice what I'm trying to teach you in rehearsal, which is when you go up and you're rehearsing something, that you stay in that space and you call line, so that you're practicing forwarding your thought process as a character. One of the negatives about practicing at that state by yourself is that you're trying to get the lines right as well, and so you're constantly stopping to do that. And,
Right.
and that to me is not healthy when you're in that state. So if you're at that, God, what did George Bernard Shaw had the best name for it? I can't think what it was called, the clumsies or the uglies or something like that. I don't know what he called it. But when you're in that state, the ideal thing is if you've got a mate or a grandchild or somebody like that, or who wouldn't mind listening to you over and over. If you really want a good workout, is use them and just say, when I call line out, just yell me the line, and
Okay.
so that's
So let me try it that way.
Yeah. Right. But
With
the
pleasure.
other side of your question is, if you're by yourself and you don't have anyone, then I think you're better off spending that time trying to make the connections that you make with that thought, so that you won't forget the thought when you're finally getting past that stage. So,
Okay.
right.
So let me give it a go and we'll see how it goes. It may be a bit halting. I think if I pause long enough, I probably will get the line.
Okay.
I haven't sent it to anyone.
And here's something else that you can do too. I've done this in my other class, and I'm not sure if we've done it in this class, but if you have a piece that you're going to work on, if you scan it and send it to like Anj or John or Vasily,
Right.
Then they'll have a copy, and then they can in fact be your prompter during class.
Right. I mean, I can do that now.
Right.
I just.
Oh, that's
You could take a picture with your phone of the thing and just send it to one of us.
yeah. Can you do that?
You do it right now.
Looks like she's doing it right now. She's got that computer look on her face.
I do. I'm looking for it. I'm looking
Which is
for
not
it.
unlike the look when you calculate in your head, Bill, right? The one that you taught us about.
Yes, exactly. Yes, do the math in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember where it is. Audition pieces. Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, lucky.
Yeah, that was me about 10 minutes ago.
Let's say to desktop.
Speaking of which, Mel, do you have a copy of Mad Woman?
I do.
Will
Do
you?
you?
Be my, well, I'm going to do a monologue from it, and would you be my?
Oh, sure. Yes, I will be your. I'll be yours if you'll be mine.
I'll be yours.
Do you want us to leave you alone?
Sounds
Okay.
like Valentine's Day, doesn't it?
Yes,
Be
really.
mine.
Okay, where is mail? And Eric. Send.
Right, and it's also the same thing with you three guys. When you do your scene, if one of the others had your scene, then they could stay on book while you guys went through it as well too.
I was going to do that, but then Vasily didn't know his lines.
Yeah, I know. So he would be calling for a line all the time. Would be a huge interruption to the whole flow of the thing. Yes.
Did you send it yet, sweetheart?
I love causing trouble between you two. You two are so funny when you have the little.
Don't forget, after you hang up, I still live here with him.
I know you're lucky though. You're a very lucky man.
It's true.
Okay, Eric, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
It doesn't have any title, so
I see.
if you get something from me, it should be it.
Meteora.
Meliora.
All right. Look out! Doesn't Eric look strange with hair?
I like it.
I know. I'd like it too. I do too. I think he looks a little younger.
He's kind of looking like Jack Nicholson. What was that movie at the hotel in the winter with?
The Shining.
The Shining.
I never get like Alec Baldwin, or I always get like you look like Herman Munster, or you look like You look like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. It's okay.
You got
Or
the
you look
bolts
like
in your neck, okay?
or you look like one of the giant heads on Easter Island. That I got that once, which I
Fred Gwynn. Herman
You do
Munster.
look like Fred Gwynn.
Fred
You do
Gwynn, a
look
little
like
bit.
Fred
That's
Gwynn.
true. It's your voice. It's a mixture of a little bit. I mean, you don't really look like him, but overall, your face
I
and
think he looks like him.
it's the match of your face and the sound of your voice. That's a very interesting,
Well, this is all very interesting, but let's go to Mel. All right, here we go.
Eric, did you get it?
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. And I added a couple of little pieces because I thought it made it rounder.
Oh, good. Good,
Okay.
good.
Okay.
All right, so here's
How do
the
I
deal
get rid
then.
of the-
If Eric is following, so then what I want you to do is to make a full commitment to making a connection to what you're doing. And when you, if you don't know the line, which you're probably is going to happen, just call line and go on.
Okay. How do I not see people? Is there a way not to see people?
I think there is a way. If you
We can get rid of ourselves.
go up to the right-hand corner of your picture, there's 3 dots. If you put your cursor on the upper right-hand corner of your picture, right? There's 3 dots.
Okay.
there.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't we say if she does that, then she won't be recorded? She won't see herself on the recording?
Oh, I want to be recorded. No, I do want to be recorded. I do. Okay. Well, then
Why
I'll
don't
deal
you
with it.
pick someone and do it to them.
We could
I'll have another
No,
drink.
she'll be recorded. No
Yeah.
worries.
Yeah,
No,
so-
because I don't know. I don't want to. Sorry.
I'm the host. Forget
Okay.
about it.
So,
Okay.
so as the host, as the host,
Okay.
can you make us disappear from Mel, or do we have to do that individually?
Yeah, I don't see a camera symbol for me for some reason.
It's not a camera symbol. It's 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of your picture, literally of your picture of you.
Yeah, mine's
I don't
yeah.
have that.
You know, don't worry, people. It's taking too long. I'm fine.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll live with it.
Or
Okay,
you
you're
could pick
drunk
someone
anyway,
to do
so
it
you're
then.
seeing a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah.
here we go.
So, look, I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I'm not now, and I never was. It would be much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So one night, 1 month, sometime, I had a martini. It was a test to see if I could, which, given my stunning discipline, had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached and somewhat bigger than life. And so I marched more or less straight up to the front of the room, hall, and faced my peers. And I looked at them. And they were all trying so hard, grit and guilt and failure and trying again and loss. And I had a moment's sweeping pity and disgust. And I almost cried, but I didn't. And I heard myself say in my little girl voice, and there were many me's at that point, I am an alcoholic. My name is Claire, and I am an alcoholic. And then I was supposed to say, you know, how bad I was and what I wanted and how it had happened and would it line?
And what I wanted to happen.
And what I wanted to happen. And, oh, line.
And would they?
Give them more.
And
Yeah.
would they help me?
Help me help myself. And I heard myself say in my little girl voice, I am an alcoholic. my name is Claire and I am a alcoholic.
Oh.
And then I was supposed to say, you know, how bad I was and what I wanted and how did it happen and would they, I don't know why I'm getting this so wrong.
What?
Would they help me?
There's something in the middle.
How it
How
happened?
did it happen? And what I wanted. And would they help me help myself? But I just stood there for 10 seconds maybe. And then I curtsied. I gave them my little girl curtsy. And then on my little girl feet, I padded back to my chair. I wasn't like those people. They were alcoholics and I wasn't. I was just a drunk. They were sick and I wasn't. They
couldn't help it.
couldn't help it and I could. They were sick and I wasn't. I was merely willful.
I'm sorry, Mel. I think I jumped ahead at one point. Gave you back.
That's okay. That's okay.
That was the end of it right there. I was willful. That's the end of it.
And
Yeah.
you wrote, I was drunk. They couldn't help it. I could and wouldn't. It's kind of important, I think. You didn't say the wouldn't part. Yeah, I could and wouldn't.
I could and wouldn't.
They were sick as I. Yeah.
They were sick and I was merely willful.
Okay. Okay, cool. So in the context of the play, what's the situation that she's saying this speech? Is somebody accusing her of being an alcoholic?
No, somebody is accusing her, well, that of course earlier through the whole play,
Yes.
they're accusing her of being an alcoholic.
Right.
But at that particular point, she's talking to her brother-in-law and he has accused her of being a fool.
Uh-huh.
So I thought in the context of just doing a monologue, because she's not saying, but I'm not an alcoholic. She's saying, but I'm not an alcoholic. You know, I'm many things, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Right.
So I thought maybe adding that piece, I may be many things, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Right. No, I liked what you added. I can see that it adds strength to the monologue. It adds back a little bit of background to the monologue. I think that those are good additions to what you had. So what I'm trying to do is because what it feels like to me is it feels like she's being defensive. That in other words, there's some sort of offensive action on her in this moment, and that's what I'm trying to clear up is, and you know, when somebody is offending you or somebody is telling you what you are or who you are or whatever, there's a moment of helplessness, and then you become very defensive, you know, if you disagree with that thing. And what I'm saying is, I feel that that the character needs to defend herself better in this moment. In other words, what I hear in the monologue is that there are alcoholics and then there are me. There is them and then there is me. There is, they think this, but this is really who I am. You know, seems to me like a them and me kind of monologue, right?
Right.
And they're completely wrong, and only I know myself, you know, which is, you know, completely, I've dealt with a lot of alcoholics. I mean, she's clearly an alcoholic just by the fact of the fact that she's trying to rationalize her own behavior to a bunch of people who've sort of got her nailed for what she is. And I think, so what I want to do is to give it the activity of defense. You know, in other words, if I'm defending myself, then I'm active. I'm not just responding to what you're doing. I'm defending myself. That's very active. And tonight it seemed like, well, it doesn't really, the stakes didn't seem high for you in telling me that it's it's not me, it's them. I mean, they are this, I'm this, but they are this. I mean, I can do this, but they are this. I mean, they are so much worse than me. I'm just this. It's no big deal. I'm fine. I'm okay. Does that make sense? That sense of defense?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Yes.
So let's run through it again this time. And again, once you go up on the line and you don't have it in, and this is also a rehearsal practice, meaning that in rehearsal, when you get stuck on a line, it's so much better in rehearsal if you don't have the information in your head to just call line right when you know you don't have it, rather than trying to struggle through and find that line, right? Because what you're trying to do in rehearsal is to teach yourself not to worry about getting it right. That's what I want to teach myself in rehearsal, is not to get it right. I want to try to connect. That's the only reason I'm going to rehearsal. I'm trying to connect with the other people that I'm actually doing the play with. And if that becomes your goal, then all of a sudden trying to get the words right are not important anymore. And they aren't, not in rehearsal. If you go to rehearsal and you make a lot of mistakes, you know you got a lot of work to do before the next rehearsal. If you go to rehearsal and make that full commitment and only make a couple of mistakes, that's absolutely stunning, because now I know the areas that I've got to work on. There's just one or two little areas. So what I'm saying to you is that I want you to practice while we're here, and we can do this, is I want you to practice that rehearsal technique, which is calling yourself on it the second you don't know it, in the rhythm that you want, because there's a rhythm you want to know it in. And you'll see this. You'll see this time, Mel. Defend yourself, defend who you are and who those people are. All right, just make a clear distinction about that. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Look, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Look, I may be many things, but I'm not an alcoholic. I am not an alcoholic now, and I never was. It would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic.
Good. That's great. That was a great start. It would be so much simpler than I were is a great rationalization for an alcoholic. And it's not just saying it's, listen, why would I, it would be so much, it's almost like saying to a gay person, why did you choose to be gay? Well, it would be so much simpler if I was straight, it's that it would be so much simpler if I wasn't, you really got to make that line hit, because it's a key defense line. It's actually an offensive defensive line. I'm taking the offense, saying, yeah, God, if I was an alcoholic, that it would be easy. Then I just go to the meetings, and I've got, my problem is tougher than what they got, because I just have no sense of decorum. I'm just a irresponsible person. That's what you're really saying. They're sick and I'm an irresponsible person. That's how you're defending yourself. Okay, here we go.
Look, I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I am not now, and nor was I ever. Oh, it would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So one night, 1 month, sometime, I had one martini as a test to see if I could. And given my stunning self-discipline, it had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached and somewhat bigger than life.
Good. So now what I want to know is, in the context of the monologue, Mel, why you're telling this story, what you've just said, because what the story is sort of an example, isn't it, of who you are and what your behavior is. Start the monologue again. It's the reason for telling the story has got to sort of intrinsically be there when you make that transition into the story.
Right. I'm finding that transition a little hard, because she has been talking about it before, not the meeting.
Right.
But she's been talking about alcoholics and Alcoholics Anonymous and the meeting, not that meeting, but meeting. So she's getting back to it. And I find in the monologue, I'm not getting back to it. So I really don't know. I don't know how to make that transition.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. Let's get to that transition point, and then we'll talk about it. All right.
Okay.
All right. So here we go.
Go from the beginning.
Started from the beginning, and
Okay.
I'll probably stop you. You make the transition again, and we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I am not an alcoholic now, and I never was. Oh, it would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So, one night, well, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini as a test to see if I could, which, given my stunning self-discipline, had become 3. And I
Okay,
was
good.
feeling rather,
So maybe we just need to alter. Maybe just need to alter Albie's dialogue just a hair, just so that it becomes. What's the last line before you start telling the story? It is, I'm not an alcoholic. It would be so much simpler
if I were an alcoholic.
Yeah, and then just add, listen to this. I was having a martini, right? So that you're trying to elaborate on that premise by telling the story.
So should I say, listen to this? Or
Yeah,
I'll
let's
keep
try
it
it.
so-
Let's try it. See if that
Okay.
helps. All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Look, I am not an alcoholic. I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I am not now, and I never was. It would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So listen, one night, 1 month, sometime, I was having one martini as a test to see if I could. Given my stunning self-discipline, it had become 3, and I was feeling rather daring. And
So this is what you're trying to prove, right? Given my stunning self-discipline, you're not making a sarcastic remark. You're proving your point, right? So given my stunning self-discipline, in other words, so you're constantly trying to blame it on your lack of discipline rather than the fact that you are sick. And by the way, adding that really made a nice difference. And now I understand why you're telling the story. So.
good. And that's such a sharp thing. You picked up on that because I thought, I don't know how to make this transition. So that's great. Okay.
You can't fool me in close-up, guys. You just can't fool me in close-up.
Sorry?
I can tell when you're there, and I can tell when you're not. The second it happens, it's great. I love it. All right, here we go.
From the top?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Look, I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic now, and I never was. It would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So listen to this. I had had one martini as a test to see if I could, and given my stunning self-discipline, it had become 3, and I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached and somewhat bigger than life. And so I marched straight, more or less straight up to the front of the room, the hall, and faced my peers. And I looked at them, all of them. And they were trying so hard. Guilt and grit and failing and trying again and lost.
All right, and you see how this is a them and this is us. I mean, they were really fucked up, So you got, and I looked at them and they were so fucked up, because I was standing in front of them, right? You've got to blame it on them because they are part of they are different from you. They are not you. Good job. Coming nice. I like it. I like the defensive move. I think it ties everything that you're saying in the piece together. Defend yourself and feel good about defending yourself. You're confident. And I can tell you, I've never met an alcoholic that wasn't confident that they weren't an alcoholic. There's this sense of confidence in the fact that yes, they fuck up every now and then. Yes, I do this every now and yes, I do get a little too drunk every now and then, but I'm not a fucking alcoholic. Right? All right, good. All right, here we go. Start it again. Good, nice work. Defend yourself.
Look, I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic now, and I never was. It would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So listen to this. One night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had a martini. Given my stunning self-discipline, it had become 3, and I was feeling rather daring.
Good.
And
So
nicely-
you had, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but you had one martini, right? What's the next line? Which then
Which
became
given
three.
my-
Which, given my stunning not because I'm like an alcoholic, but given my stunning self-discipline, it became three. You know, in other words, I'm proving the fact that I am in a different category than you, right? And it seems like you're making a negative comment about yourself. Strangely enough, it's a positive comment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right. Yes,
Okay.
you're right.
Here you go. Start it
So
again.
listen
Good.
to this.
Yeah.
So listen to this. One night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini, which given my stunning self-discipline had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached and somewhat bigger than life. And so I
So
marched.
and again, this is what she knows happens when she has 3 martinis. And so I became this, and I did, yeah, we all know what happens when we have like 3 drinks. We get a really nice buzz. You know, that's okay. I'm not an alcoholic. And I was giving myself, so in a way, it sounds like, it can't sound like you're acquiescing to your behavior. You got to sound like you're proud of your behavior, and that everybody else in the room understands. You guys understand the difference too. All right, here we go. Start it again. Good.
So listen to this. One night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini as a test to see if I could, which, given my stunning self-discipline, had become 3. And I was feeling rather. So, listen to this. One night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini as a test to see if I could, which, given my stunning self-discipline, had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached and somewhat bigger than life. And so I marched more or less straight up to the front of the room, hall, and faced my peers. And I looked at them, all of them, and they were trying so hard. Grit, guilt, failing and trying again and loss.
Yeah, say that, and you looked at them, and they looked like what? Now make fun of them, because they're fucked up. They're not you. Make fun of, and I looked at them, and what happened? Go.
So I marched up to the front of the room, the hall, and I looked at them, and they were trying so hard, guilt and grit and failing and trying again and loss. And I felt the line.
And
I had a moment's line.
Sweeping.
Give her more than just.
I had a moment sweeping pity and disgust.
I looked at them. They were all trying so hard. Guilt, grit, failing, trying again, loss. And I had a moment's sweeping pity and disgust. And I almost cried, but I didn't. And I heard myself say in my little girl
good. So
voice,
this is so good, right? So if you're making fun of them and I looked at them and they had this, they were guilty and they had it, and so because they were so fucked up, I went along with it, right? I did this, and I went into my little girl voice, right? In other words, right? It wasn't because of the fact that I was drunk. It was because I was looking at a bunch of drunks who were just going, oh, please. So as you make fun of them, then lay it on them. Go ahead, lay it on them. Go ahead, Ann.
So I marched up to the front of the room, the hall, and I faced my peers and I looked at them, all of them. And they were trying so hard, grit and guilt and failing and trying again and loss. And I had a moment's sweeping pity and disgust.
Yeah.
And I almost cried, but I didn't. And I heard.
They almost made me cry, but they didn't. Yeah, right. Admit that, right? It was them. Yeah,
And I almost cried, but I didn't.
yes.
And I heard myself say in my little girl voice, oh, and there were the line.
And there were a lot of different.
And I heard myself say in my little girl voice, oh, and there were a lot of different me's at that time. I am a alcoholic. My name is Claire, and I am a alcoholic. Now I was supposed to tell them, you know, how bad I was and how I didn't want to be and how it happened. And
make fun of their bullshit. Make fun of their bullshit. Now I'm supposed to tell them, now make fun of their bullshit. What are you supposed to do?
Now I'm supposed to tell them.
Yes.
Now I'm supposed to tell them, you know, how bad I was and how I didn't want to be and how it happened and what I wanted to happen and would they help me help myself? I just stood there for 10 seconds maybe, and then I curtsied. I gave my little girl curtsy, and on my little girl feet, I padded back to my chair. I have nothing in common with those people. They are alcoholics, and I'm not. I'm just a drunk. They are sick, and I'm not. They can't help themselves, and I can, but wouldn't. And they are sick, and I am merely willful.
Yeah, right. And that's a fact. They are sick, and I'm merely willful. I mean, you've got to know that that is absolutely my truth. They are sick, and I'm merely willful. Okay, I can't help myself. They're sick, but I can't help myself. I'm just willful. It's so much better, Mel, when you make fun of them, you know, because they're in this category, and it's almost like you never would have gone into the little girl voice had you not looked at them and seen them being so needy and so, all right, so I went into my little girl voice and because of them. And then, what do you say after you go into your little girl voice? What does she say after that? And I go into what do you say after that?
I am an alcoholic.
Yeah, keep going.
My name is Claire.
Yeah.
And I am an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And now I was supposed to tell them.
All right, now, and now this is a tone switch, and now I'm supposed to tell them how I'm da-da and da-da, because this is what these people want, right? You've got to know them really well because you are one, but you're using them as your defense. It's really interesting. Only a sober person, only a sober alcoholic could come up with this defense. If they were actually drunk, it wouldn't make sense to them. But she's soberly figured this out, you know. And I don't think she's drunk when she's saying this at all. I think this is her sober rationalization for her behavior. It's them and me. It's them and me. And that's the important thing. And I also want to compliment you. For in fact, did you all notice what she did when she went up on a line? Instead of calling for line, which she probably could have done easily because Eric's right there, she went back, you know, in other words. So that's another great thing that you can do when you're rehearsing by yourself and you know you're off on your thing. Just hold on to that energy and go back and see if you make the connection the second time around. I don't know how many times you guys have done this before, but when you do the looping, sometimes you just become more accurate for some stupid reason. You know, it just comes back to you. And even if you go up in the same place again and go back to the beginning and don't give up, then maybe the third time it happens. But what I'm saying is that you, Mel, did not settle for the connection that you were making. You wanted to make that real connection. And that's the best way to rehearse, is by insisting yourself, knowing yourself that emotionally you're not making that connection and going back, not knowing from listening to yourself. It didn't seem like that was the reason. It was because you knew yourself you were not connected. You wanted to go back and make that connection. That's a great way to rehearse. So that you're rehearsing from I mean, don't you guys know it when you are lost in what you're doing? I mean, you know it, right? It's just like, and if you don't settle for less than that when you rehearse, then you're really going to have a positive rehearsal process. And keep going. God, the looping is a great way to handle that by yourself when you're at the state of knowing your lines that you are at right now, Mel.
Okay,
That's another answer to the question you asked me before we started that I didn't come up with. But yeah, looping is the way to do that. Because then what you're doing is reinforcing what you already feel you're connected to. And then when I lose that connection, I hold that energy and I go back to what I know I'm already connected to, and to see if that momentum will take me to the next place where I want to go. And if it doesn't, then I hold that energy and I go back to what I know I'm connected to, and I continue forward. And if after 3 times I can't make that, then I sit down and I look at that area and I spend time trying to make that connection, and then I go back and try to make it, so that you're always doing it from an internal place, not listening to yourself, but knowing you're connected. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah. It's so much better as a defense, but I want you, Mel, because your strength is drama, right? We talk about that all the time, that your strength is drama. Here's an opportunity to use your strength in making fun of them, right? There is an opportunity. Now, that's in fact where a good dramatist would take advantages. We all have people that we don't care for, right? And oftentimes when we make fun of somebody that we don't care for, we're very good at it. And so that's what I'm saying is you've got to be these poor self-pitying AA people who come to these dumbass meetings every week, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're making fun of those people. The character is defending herself, but we on the other side are knowing that the more you defend yourself, methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the more you defend yourself and the more you make fun of the people you're defending yourself against, the more I'm convinced of who you really are.
I love when I start to get into a part, which I have started to really feel this lady, that when you say, we all know you're an alcoholic, I want to say, no, I'm not.
Thank you. That's perfect. That's perfect. And that's exactly what I want you to do. And that's exactly, so that you're not saying it as any sort of manipulation. It's just the way it is. I'm not, That's exactly it. Good work, Mel. Really good work. That's what you want to start to develop between this week and next week is me and them. There's me and there's them, and I am completely different from them.
Yes.
You even use the line that, and there was 3 of them. What is that line where you talk about 3 of them? What?
It's 3 martinis.
No, but then you're seeing more than 1, or you're seeing 3, or it's later in the monologue that you talk about what you see. You're seeing triple, or you're seeing 3.
This is all of them.
Huh?
All of them, I think.
What's the context of that whole line?
The one, Mel, where it says, so I marched more or less straight.
March to the front of the room.
Yeah.
That one I think he's referring to, yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
I see them, I look them over, and all of them. And then she lists all the things that she sees.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably from different people. One of them is looking like they're failing all the time, and they're always failing and trying again.
Yes. Oh, I mean, these people, they're so self-suffering, these people. See, and that's something that your character is not. Your character is definitely not self-suffering.
They're all losers.
Yeah. They're all losers.
They are. Eric, you were listening. Well, thank you.
Right? I mean, it's a clear distinction. They're all losers and I'm not.
Yeah, it's completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah. Let's try it one more time, and then we'll put it to bed and move on. All right, here we go.
Okay. I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I am not an alcoholic now, and I never was. Oh, it would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. Line. No. Now, no line. Now, listen to me. one night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini, and given my stunning self-discipline, it had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and fuck.
Good. That's all right. You know what you're mad at? What you're mad at, Mel, is this:
Like
that you don't know the lines well enough to be able to be where you want to be with that, and that's all that was. That's not you sucking; it's you actually improving. And then you walk into the block and you don't know it well enough. So don't beat yourself up for what you don't know.
Okay.
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 You're exactly on the right track. Okay. And
Just
that's
say
Okay.
line. Just say
Okay.
line, Mel.
What did you say, Eric?
Okay.
Just say line. Or-
Yeah.
I know.
Give it to you.
I get all tangled up, and yeah. Okay. I may be many things, but I am not an alcoholic. I am not an alcoholic now, and I never was. Oh, it would be so much simpler if I were an alcoholic. So listen to me. One night, 1 month, sometime, I'd had one martini as a test to see if I could, which, given my stunning self-discipline, had become 3. And I was feeling rather daring and nicely detached.
Good. I want to stop you, because what you're doing now is rehearsing pauses that have to do with you not knowing the lines well enough. This is what I'm saying is this is.
He does have a lot of pauses.
There are
which he
ellipses.
goes in
There are
there.
ellipses where she's pausing.
Yeah, but you know, and this is the great thing about an ellipse is it can be this, or it can be this. You know, in other words, you know, it's however long it takes you to get to that thought process, right? And what I'm saying is, I just want you to. It looked like you were. Like the actress was pausing and not the character. It looked like the actress was pausing and not the character. Because the actress knows what the fuck she's talking. She knows her lie really well. This is another thing that I've learned about alcoholics is they're very good at their lies because they practice the same ones repeatedly. You know, and they're very good at them. Excellent. I mean, and to a rookie who is not used to dealing with an alcoholic, they'll fool me every time. You know, and then someone will go, you know, they're an alcoholic, and I go, and then all of a sudden it'll start to make sense to me. But I'm one of those idiots that just go, oh yeah, and I would take you at face value. Well, what I'm saying to you is, it looked like it was you, the actress, who was searching for those words, and not the character.
Well, and partly I'm searching for lines too.
Okay, good. And that's what I'm saying to you is, that's what that's what you have to get through next week. And once we get that, then we'll be able to put this on, put the final touches on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
But defend yourself. Make fucking fun of them. They are crippled and you are, I'm just screwed up, but they're crippled.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I think let's pass till next week.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do, because I've got to get these lines.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
And also realize when you're learning it that the point of view that you're telling it from, meaning that they are fucked up and I'm just, you know, irresponsible. That's something that you've been telling people for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not like you're unfamiliar with this sort of defensive speech. You've had to defend yourself before.
Mm-hmm.
She has the equipment to defend herself.
So she's said these things before.
Well, maybe not these exact things, but she's defended herself and her lack of alcoholism before. You know, and like from the other monologue, the topless bra monologue, the topless bathing suit monologue, we can tell that the woman is not shy about making decisions, and when she makes a decision, she hangs with it, and she's pretty tenacious in hanging with the decisions that she makes. Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, you're welcome. Good work. Okay, Cindy, let's go with you.
Okay, which one would you like me to do?
Well, let's start with what we did last week and see where you are on that, and then we'll flesh out this new piece.
Okay.
Okay.
So I did spend most of this week working with that and
Okay.
trying to be more where I'm just telling somebody than explaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this because I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have to explain anything. I mean, my God, you all know he's dying, but I'm telling you this.
Let me tell you something is one whore to another. What you do with your ass is your business. You can drag it through every gutter from here to Morocco. You can trade it, sell it, you can give it away, you can run it up a flagpole, paint it blue, cut it off if you feel like it. I don't care. I'll even show you the best way to do it because that's the kind of person I am. But Brian is different. Because Brian is stupid. Because Brian is blind. Because Brian doesn't know where you come from or who you come from or why or how or even what you are coming to, because Brian happens to need you. And if that is not enough for you, then you get yourself out of his life fast. You take your delicate sensibilities and your fears and your disgust, if that's what you feel, and you pack it up and you get out.
Great, 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 Cindy. Good. That's coming along nicely. That's really, from last week, much better. Not drama protected. Okay. So,
oh, good.
Good.
I can't really tell yet. So.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely not drama protected. What I want, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. So what I want you to think about it again is that opening line. From one whore to another means that I'm just going to tell you the truth, and it doesn't matter whether it's pretty, it doesn't matter whether it's good, it doesn't matter whether it's bad. You and I have both fucked a lot of people in our lives, right? And so let me just tell you, from one fucky to another fucky, listen, if you're not happy with this, then just get the fuck out, right? Because it's not doing him any good having you here. In other words, the stakes are so important in this particular situation that you can't lie. And this opening line, one whore to another, means that I'm going to tell you exactly what I feel, and I'm not going to try to make it pretty, and I'm not going to try to do anything else to it, but I'm going to tell you something that only you and I will understand together. Because if you're fucking somebody, and when we get to that point, I'll stop and I'll show you what we mean. But all right, one whore to another, and you start out by, isn't it, let me tell you something? Is that the opening line?
Yeah, let me tell you something is one whore to another.
Right, okay, good. So again, we talk a little bit about in here, I use the Mamet phrase that rhythm is meaning. In other words, David Mamet's whole approach to acting is that don't act the words, find the right rhythm, and you find the right rhythm in the character, then that's the meaning, and all you got to do is say the words. In this particular situation, you know what you're talking about. So the rhythm of what you're doing needs to be from a place that you really know and understand, rather than a place that you're even slightly unsure of, right? It's almost like Mel's drunk speech, even though it's a complete defensive speech. She pretends like she knows what she's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, as one whore from another. In this particular case, you do know what you're talking about, right? How helpful is somebody who's going to act that way going to be to somebody who's dying? They're not going to be helpful at all. So let me tell you, as one whore to another, this is what you need to do. All right? Here we go. One whore to another. Hang in there with that. Know what you're talking about. All right, here we go.
Well, I have one question about that.
Sure.
When you know what you're talking about, how do you do that and not have it sound like you're reciting a sheet?
Well, because in other words, I know spiritually exactly what I'm going to say right now. So I'm not exploring every particular word. I know exactly what I'm saying. In other words, it's the thought that I recognize. So if it's a recognizable thought, I have to create the thought, and then I can say it whatever rate I want it to. I'm not trying to create the illusion that I'm making the dialogue up. I know this shit really well. So, antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. I know this shit, right? I'm
Right.
not making it up. So that's what I'm saying is it still looks like I'm processing it, but it doesn't have anything to do with me trying to demonstrate that I'm processing.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, here we go. One whore to another. Don't cut any mustard with me. All right, here we go.
Let me tell you something is one whore to another. And what you do with your ass is your business. You can drag it through every gutter from here to Morocco. You can trade it, sell it, give it away.
This is the aspect that I'm talking about. You can trade it, you can sell it, you can do this. This is what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is you can trade it, you can sell it. That doesn't seem like you really know what you want to tell this person and what this person's problem is, and that you understand it keenly. Here's the other thing, Cindy, is that the work that you've done this week has brought this to a position where it really seems like a conversation and not a dramatic interlude, which is great, which is what we want. Now what I want to do is to take what you've learned, and I want to add a tighter rhythm to it that depicts the fact that you really know what you're talking about, and you're not going to take anything else, anything less than this person's behaving the way you want. Look, either stay here and don't do this or leave. Okay? From one whore to another, those are your two options right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Let me tell you something is one whore to another. What you do with your ass is your business. You can drag it through every gutter from here to Morocco. You can trade it, sell it, give it away. You can run it up a flagpole, paint it blue, or cut it off if you feel like it. I don't care. I'll even show you the best way to do it, because that's the kind of person I am. But Brian is different. Because Brian is stupid, because Brian is blind, because Brian doesn't know where you come from, or who you come from, or why, or how, or even what you were coming to, because Brian happens to need you. And if that is not enough for you, then you get yourself out of his life fast. You take your delicate sensibilities and your fears and your disgust, if that's what you feel, and you pack it up and you get out.
List the things that I should do. What should I do? I take my what? List them. Go.
You take your delicate sensibilities and your fears and your disgust, if that's what you feel.
Yeah, but your delicate fears and your da-da-da-da and your disgust, if that's what in other words, just get it the fuck out of here, right? And
Yeah.
Go. You take your go.
You take your delicate sensibilities and your fears and your disgust, if that's what you feel, and you pack it up and you get out.
Hold that energy and I'll start it.
Let me tell you something is one whore to another. What you do with your ass is your business. You can drag it through every gutter from here to Morocco. You can trade it, sell it, give it away. You can run it up a flagpole, paint it blue, or cut it off if you feel like it. I don't care. I'll even show you the best way to do it, because that's the kind of person I am. But Brian is different. Because Brian is stupid, because Brian is blind, because Brian doesn't know where you come from, or who you come from, or why, or how, or even what you are coming to, because Brian happens to need you. And if that is not enough for you, then you get yourself out of his life fast. You take your delicate sensibilities and your fears and your disgust, if that's what you feel, and you pack it up and you get out.
Woo! Woo, woo, woo. So much better. So much better. Do y'all see the difference in that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really great. And you're going to see the difference on the playback right away, right?
That really does help.
Oh
Much.
my God. Because the work you did last week was that you really understood where this character was coming from. And now what we added this week was the layer of knowledge that this character has of this particular situation.
Yeah.
This character is spot on. And when you have a knowledge of something, it's, well, this was sort of like when John asked me to teach this class at LIU this year. He asked me to teach a Theater 61 class. And I said, well, of course I will, because I'm broke and I need the money. But to myself, I said, fuck, this is going to be a lot of work, because this is not something that I talk about every day. I don't talk about theater history and all the I don't introduce people to theater every day. I introduce people to acting. When I know what I'm talking about, I can sort of knock it off. But when I'm teaching Theater 61, I got to go over all this stuff. I got to prepare this stuff, and the time that I got to put into it to make it seem like I somewhat know what I'm talking about is much more difficult. But in this particular case, this woman understands. It's like me talking about acting. I could talk about acting for 3 hours a night for, how long? You guys have been with me, right? I can go on forever because I know it, and I know it backwards and forwards and upside down. And that's what I'm saying is that's what we added this week to it, Cindy, was we added this knowledge that she really does know what she's talking about. And she's not trying to be dramatic. She's just saying, listen, from one horror to another, this is exactly the way it's going to be. And right. And what is it? What this one section you say, Brian is what? It's like halfway through the monologue, you say, what? Brian is what?
He's stupid. He's blind. He's
right. And don't get Brian is stupid. He's blind. And, he really, and he doesn't need this now, right? And that's got to be a factual. You're sort of trying to
searching for the word stupid. It felt like she was searching for stupid, but she knows it, right?
She knows it. Brian's stupid and blind, and right. And he doesn't need this now, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and it almost seemed a little bit like you were apologizing for Brian. You're not apologizing for Brian. You're really making your point in a way that only somebody who knows it as well as you do can make it, which is
now there's a funny thing about this show. It's full of lists.
Yeah.
There is one character in the show that doesn't have at least one set of lists that they come out with in a speech. Is there a reason that people do things that way consistently, or is it just how this guy writes?
I have no idea whether he consistently, because I haven't read enough of the body of his work to know if he does that. But I mean, a list is usually it's a pretty good device in writing, and oftentimes it becomes a trap for the actor because people try to act the list. They try to describe what's already being listed, whereas opposed just the list is making the point. And so, I don't know, but yeah. Whenever you come to a list, it's really look at it as a list. Don't act the list. Don't explain the list. The fact that you're listing it is the point. There are some, look, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, and it's this. Clearly, not it's this, and it's this, and it's this, and that's boring. That's fucking boring, right? It's like I'm not smart enough to figure out what the list is. Just give me the list, will you? Yeah. That's the most dramatic thing you can do. Okay, cool. So let's see this new piece that you want to play with tonight.
Okay, well, this is not memorized completely, so.
Oh, well, how horrible. Okay, here we go.
It will be next week.
I know. Well, let's see what it is this week. Now, this is from what?
It's called A Sense of Entitlement. Well,
Okay.
it's actually just April's monologue, but okay. A sense of entitlement. Everyone talks nowadays about this person or that person having a sense of entitlement. Oh, look at them driving that expensive car. They really have a sense of entitlement. Or, wow, did you see she took the biggest piece of cake? What a sense of entitlement she has. And one generation is always talking about a younger generation having that sense of entitlement. I have to be honest with you. I would absolutely adore possessing a sense of entitlement. I just don't seem to have one. I realized that the other day. I'm standing with my sister, and we're at this going away party for one of our nephews, and he's going off to college, and we're at my brother's house, and Mark's wife, Peggy, made Swedish meatballs. And Ann and I are standing in the kitchen, and we've got these little plates in our hands, and Ann finishes her meatballs first, and she's talking to one of Paul's, he's the nephew, friends, and without looking at me, she just sort of hands her plate and fork to me. And I take it. I mean, she just hands it to me without looking. Where does that come from? Who does that? And then suddenly I realized she's been doing that kind of thing all my life. And I'm the older sister. I've got to go in a minute, but I just want to say that I realized recently that it's genetic. I was talking to my mother on the phone. She still lives way upstate, couldn't make the party, sent the check instead. And she tells me that she didn't get the family sense of entitlement, but that her mother had the biggest one she'd ever seen. Then she tells me about this time at a car rental place. Ma said that Granny rented a car. She always rents a car whenever she used to visit. And Gran always used the same place, knew the owner, blah, blah. So this one time, Ma said they went to the car rental office, and this kid was eating his lunch behind the counter. And Granny says, "I'm Rosemary Shields. I am here to pick up a blue 4-door." And the kid says something like, mouthful of French fries, mind you. They're checking something in the engine, and the blue 4-door is not going to be ready for another 20 minutes. Well, Ma started laughing when she was telling me this. She said that Granny went ballistic, barked these commands, and the kid was up and out, getting that car in a matter of seconds. Then, genetic sense of entitlement, remember, Granny sits down behind the counter and proceeds to finish the kid's lunch. French fries, they're half of the sandwich, the whole plate. Ma said she offered her the pickle. Isn't that amazing? I would have loved to have gotten that out of the gene pool. But I got Ma's saddlebags, Dad's fear of flying, which ain't fun.
Okay, so that's from a play?
No, I'm not sure. I think he just wrote these for kids in his class.
I got you. Okay, so first of all, it's too long. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
We all know that right off the bat. So one of the things that I can think might work, let me hear it again, and I'll show you where it should stop, and then we can play with it. Okay, here we go.
A sense of entitlement. Everyone talks nowadays about this person or that person having a sense of entitlement. Oh, look at them. Look at that expensive car. I mean, they really have a sense of entitlement. Or, wow, did you see that she took the biggest piece of cake? What a sense of entitlement she has. And one generation is talking about a younger generation having that sense of entitlement. I have to be honest with you. I would absolutely adore possessing a sense of entitlement. I just don't seem to have one. I realized that the other day. I'm standing with my sister, and we're at this going away party for one of our nephews. He's going off to college, and we're at my brother's house, and Mark's wife, Peggy, made Swedish meatballs. And Ann and I are standing in the kitchen, and we've got these little plates in our hands, and Ann finishes her meatballs first, and she's talking to one of Paul's, he's the nephew, friends. And without looking at me, she just sort of hands her plate and fork to me. And I take it. I mean, she just hands it to me without looking. Where does that come from? Who does that?
Good, right. That's as far as we need to go right there, right now. What you need to do between this week and next week is like tonight or tomorrow, send me a copy of that monologue
Okay.
Because I think I can make it. The problem is we got to create a present tense reason for you saying this speech. Right now, it just sort of exists out of nowhere. And because it's not really from a play, we can't talk about any context. So we've got to create that context. And
Okay.
I think I can do that, but I need to see the dialogue before I can do that. And if you send it to me tonight, I'll do it tomorrow and send the rewrite back to you. And
Okay.
and then what I'm also going to do, Cindy, is I'm also going to try to look for something else that I think would be perfect for you as well.
Okay.
Because it's not my favorite monologue. I think I can find a way to make it work. But I'll show you how we can do that by creating a context for you having to say that. Right now, it just seems like talk now. It just doesn't seem like an action is going on. So we can work on that. Okay, so send that to me tonight or tomorrow.
I'll do it right now, actually.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I just got the feeling
Okay.
I didn't know why it was necessary, why she was saying it.
Yeah, that's what I mean is that
Yeah.
we need to create a context, and you've all seen me do that in class, is that we can add one line or juxtapose. Thank you.
Juxtaposition.
Thank you. A couple of lines, and then all of a sudden the present tense is there. So, there's got to be a reason that she wants to say it in the present tense. So.
Yeah, I just didn't feel the stakes, right?
Yeah, there were no stakes. It was interesting information and comment, but there was really no stakes or activity involved in it. As soon as we made Mel's monologue a defensive monologue saying, no, I'm not that, all of a sudden it became active. That's what you have to have in a good audition monologue, is a present tense sense of activity.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, Anj. I said her name and she left. Was it something I said?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Enjeu.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I sent John the monologue, so he'll be on book.
Let me ask you another question, because I was thinking about what other stuff that I would love to see you do, and I'm just curious. Do you have a library of plays at your place?
Are you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have anything by Moliere?
I think I do. Yes, it
Okay.
might be. It's in the basement, but I can get it.
All right. Well, look around for it, because you being French and so French and all, I started thinking, who's probably the greatest French playwright in the world, and it's Moliere.
Right.
And there, you just seem like in almost every one of his plays, he has a maid that's really knows everything. That knows everything that's going on, no matter what play it is. And I know in The Imaginary Invalid, which I did when I was in grad school, the maid was Toinette. I remember that. But in every one of Moliere's plays, he has this character. And so and they always have wonderful monologues, active monologues, because they're always getting other people in trouble, or creating some sort of plot or doing something like that.
Right.
So anyway, that's just for your edification. I was trying to think of other things for you, and you would live in a Moliere world really well. And I think you would be a great person to be the cause of all the havoc as well. So
I'm always.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see where we are. Let's see where we are with Rappaport.
You gave me the name, Pop. I had no choice in it. Clara, Clara, Clara. That's not a name. It's a curse. Everybody, the cause. The goddamn cause. Everybody gets a two-wheeler when they're 10. I got Das Kapital in paperback. You sent me out for bagels and lox and the weekend daily worker. I put it in the bag. I hide it. So half of Flatbush Avenue doesn't point at me. Kids fight at school,
Fights at school.
fights at school, kids avoiding me, daughter of the Reds. My friend Sally, my only friend. We're down one morning on the street and we're talking, and she says to me, I believe in God. I'm confused. I run up the stairs to the Central Committee and I say, Pops, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her? Tell her she'll get over it. You say. I tell her. She tells her mother. The next day, I go to the school and there's nobody on the block to play with me. Alone. Alone again. So I got married, had 2 children, and lived a life. I got smart and fought battles I figured I could win. That's what I've done.
Great, 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 great. Good. So I just want you to, you'll see this on the playback, all right? Okay. So great. I love the playback. What you'll notice on the playback is this.
Oh, okay.
Right, and right, you all, maybe you guys didn't remember that, but that's pretty much all I remembered. And what I'm saying to you is, here's an example of the physicality being exactly right, but being misplaced. Meaning that it's exactly right is that she's really trying to make a point to her father, a very important point to her father. And she's physicalizing her, but this weakens her.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
What I'm saying is it's the opposite. It's
Right.
Dad, you gave me the fucking name. It's
Right.
like a curse. Not Dad, you get, you see
Right.
the difference
Okay.
in that,
Yes,
right?
I do. Yes, I do.
Right? This is knowledge that is in the back of your head and has been in the back of your head your whole life. You've been called Clara your whole life, right?
Right.
And do you like the name?
No, not really, because she was a woman who, was an advocate, and I have to live up to this name.
It's a fucking curse. It's not a name, it's a curse.
Right.
Right? You didn't give me a name, you cursed me. Like I've got to live up to something my whole life. This is what you did for me, right?
Right.
See, each time I'm doing it from a point of, I know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? As opposed to coming in and you'll see that physicality, right? Okay, so that's the first thing that I want to see, because it will completely change how you feel if you hold this physicality back here, right? So from the dialogue, answer this question. There is an answer to this question from the dialogue. Tell me a story about something your father did to you that changed your life.
My friend Sally, my
Yeah.
only friend.
Yeah?
We're down in the street one Saturday morning, and she tells me she believes in God. I'm confused, so I go to the Central Committee.
Good. Now look, see, so now it looks like because you're trying, it should be, I'm confused, right? Not, I'm confused at. It's this sense, you're telling me a story of something that you've held. I mean, how old were you when this happened?
I was about 12.
And this is the first time you've ever told your father this story.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Right?
Right.
And so there's this sense of, all right, I'll give you an example of what an asshole you were. And by the way, who's the committee?
Well, that's the committee that he belonged to. I guess it was a left wing because I didn't get the script yet, but it sounds like a left wing kind of organization.
It's a completely left-wing, blue-collar, rights of the worker.
Right.
Rights of the worker is what it's all about. That's exactly.
Right.
That's why he can't stand you being the head of a condo association.
Right. It goes totally against his beliefs.
Absolutely. You should be one of the condo members, who are, right? You shouldn't
That's
be
right.
the president of the committee. I mean, what
Right.
the fuck is that? But anyway, so tell me this story. All right. Give me an example of how I treated you badly. Give me an example.
Well, at 12 years old, the
Yeah.
kids get a two-wheeler. I get Das Kapital in paperback.
Yeah.
I get it in paperback. I mean,
Mel, you're laughing, right? Because you saw that difference, right? Immediately, right? Right? And you went, oh God, she caught herself. And then she went back, and then you made it absolutely perfectly connect from back there. Did you feel that difference, that dynamic difference?
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now tell me the story about Sally. Go ahead. What did I do with your big friend Sally?
Pop, I'm there one Saturday morning talking with Sally, and she tells me that she believes in God. I'm confused. I run up the stairs to the Central Committee. I say, Pops, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her? Tell her she'll get over it, you say. I tell her. She tells her mother. The next day, there's no kid on the block to play with. I'm alone again. So I got married, had 2 children.
Good. So here's the fact. I'm alone. I'm alone again.
Yeah.
Right? That's just who I've been. Don't try to make me feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
I will feel sorry for you if you make me believe your fucking story about how crazy your father is and how he treated you your whole life. I will feel sorry for you then. But
I mean, you're not going to believe this, but I had no friends. I had no friends that day. I was concerned. I was confused. I told her, she told her mother. Next day, I got fucked for it.
Yeah.
I was alone again.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what did you do?
So I got married. I had 2 children. I lived a life. I got smart enough to have battles that I figured I could win. That's what I've done.
Right. Good. And actually, that's an argument that your father would understand. That you got smart and I decided to have battles that I could win. That's an argument your father
I could
would
win them
understand.
with him, but I've sure found ways to win arguments now.
So, even though I would love to get rid of you, I can't get rid of you. You're part of my psyche, right? So it's almost it's strangely enough, almost a compliment, but it's just saying, listen, I am my father's daughter because this is what happened to me. And maybe you didn't realize this was happening to me. Also, you need to make a little more fun of the committee. So I went to the what?
The Central Committee.
So I went to the Central Committee.
I ran upstairs to the Central Committee.
Yeah. I ran upstairs to the Central Committee.
In
other words, those big guys, those guys that all the bullshitters that you spent all those. Yeah. In other words, that's part of the story. That's we got to know who they were and what bullshit.
Okay.
All right. Let's start it from the beginning. All right. I'm going to play with the beginning with you for. All right. Here we go.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing somebody's face big on my screen. It's throwing me.
Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You gave me that name. I had nothing to do with it. I had no choice. Clara. It's not a name, it's a curse.
Can you say fucking Clara, fucking Clara, fucking Clara?
Fucking Clara, fucking Clara, fucking Clara. It's not a name, it's a curse.
Now say Clara with silent fucks and go.
Clara. It's not a name, it's a curse. Everybody else at 12 gets a 2-wheeler. I get Das Kapital in paperback.
Good. No, that's just a fact, right? Everybody gets this. I get Das Kapital in paperback. Great. Nice. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
In other words, this has happened to me. And here we go. Back from the beginning. Go.
You gave me the name. I had no choice. Clara, Clara, Clara. It's not a name, it's a curse. The cause, the goddamn cause. Everybody gets a two-wheeler when they're 12 years old. I get Das Kapital in paperback. On Sundays, you sent me out to get lox and bagels and the Weekend Worker Weekly. I hide it in the bag, so half of the line,
Flatbush Avenue.
Flatbush Avenue, won't point at me. Fights in schools, kids avoiding me, daughter of the Reds. Oh, my friend, my only friend, Sally, we're one Saturday morning on the street. She says to me that she doesn't believe in God. I'm confused. I run up to Central Committee and I say, Dad, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her? Tell her she'll get over it, you say. I tell her, she tells her mother. The next day, I have no one to play with on the block. Alone. Alone again. So I got married, had 2 children, and lived a life. I got smart and fought battles that I knew I could win. That's what I've done.
Good. You're going to hate yourself when you see this playback, because the whole first half of the playback you kept.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Right. Exactly. And you'll see this. So now I just want sit back in your chair.
Okay.
All right. Good. Now just sit back, and actually I can lean back actually in my chair. I don't know if you can do that, but it's just to say, if we, yeah. Stay back there and tell me your truth now.
I had no choice. You gave me the name. Clara, Clara, Clara. It's not a name. It's a curse. The cause. The goddamn cause. Everybody gets a 2-wheeler when they turn 12. I got Das Kapital in paperback. On Sundays, you sent me out for bagels and lox and the Weekend Daily Worker. I hide it in the bag, so half of Flatbush Avenue won't point fingers at me. Fights at schools, kids avoiding me, daughters of the Reds,
Daughter.
the daughters of the Reds. My friend, my only friend Sally, one morning on a Saturday, we're in the street. She says to me, she believes in God. I'm confused. I run up to the Central Committee and say, Pops, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her? Tell her she'll get over it, you say. I tell her, she tells her mother, and the next day, I have no kid on the block to play with. Alone. Alone again. So I got married, had 2 children, and lived a life. I got smart and fought battles that I knew that I could win. That's what I've done.
Great. Now tell me how different you feel after doing it that way.
I feel more in control. I feel like a woman who's taking a stance, but not having to argue with him. Feeling confident because I am who I am.
Yes.
You can't make a difference now.
Right. I am my father's daughter.
Right.
I have as much of a strength of point of view as you did. You're the one who taught me that, Dad.
Right.
Right. All right. So here we go. Give me an example from the thing. Tell me one. All right. Name one thing I did. Name one thing that I did that fucked you up. Go ahead. Name one thing.
Everybody else gets 2-wheelers when they're 12 years old. You got me Das Kapital in paperback.
That's great. Now, that's good. Now, I want you to listen to what I'm asking you, and I want you to do that same line, but I want you to answer the question with that line. I don't want you to dramatically interpret the line.
Yeah.
I want you to answer the question. Okay, so name one thing. Name one thing I did that screwed you up as a child. Name one thing.
Everybody else gets a two-wheeler when they're 12. I got Das Kapital in paperback.
You see, you had to lean in on that in paperback, didn't you? Right, you had to. You just had to lean. You see, what I'm telling you is you're always right. You see, that lean in is your desire to want to make this point to your father, right?
Here, yes,
Right, but the strength of that is here
right,
as opposed to here, right? It's the same energy. It's just more powerful inside than outside,
right,
right?
yes.
And you answered the question. All right, big deal. So name what else did I do? So one thing, I did one thing. What else did I do?
One morning, I'm on the street with my friend, my only friend, Sally Marcus.
Yeah, I see, and that's an important, my only friend. Yeah, right. Okay, go ahead.
That's right, my only friend. She tells me that she believes in God. I'm confused. I run up to Central Committee
Yes.
and say, Pops, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her? Tell her she'll get over it, you say. I tell her. She tells her mother. And the next day, I have no kids on the block to play with.
See, now you're describing the story and not answering that question.
Yeah.
You see, you got to answer the question
Yes.
the next day, and I'm all alone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You see, that I love that you're catching yourself doing that now. That's my favorite thing of all. But can you all see the difference in the point of view when she doesn't try to make that point physically, when she makes it through her own sense of intelligence and knowledge about herself? This is who I am, right? It's so much stronger that way.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think you said if you dramatically portray it. Well, for me, when Anj was sort of dramatically portraying it or putting drama on top, the character feels like a victim.
Yes.
But she's not a victim, right?
Not.
She's a grown woman, right?
Sometimes
she feels to me like she's the teenager that she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the drama on top.
Yeah. She's got to stand up to her father with the way her father would stand up to her.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, she's got, I mean, that's who she is, you know. And I went up to the Central Committee and I said, Dad, what should I tell her? And what does he say to tell her?
Tell her she'll get over it.
Tell her she'll get over it. You know, in other words, put a little hymn and tell her she'll get over it.
She'll get over it, you say.
Yeah, like it's no fucking big deal.
Right.
Yeah, right. So I go back.
About that.
What's that?
I have a question about that. When I first heard her say, I ran up to the Central Committee and said, Pops, you know, what do I tell her? I thought the Central Committee, in her mind, were her parents.
No, Central Committee with all these guys that she hung out with, that her father hung out with. Her father Her father didn't spend much time with Mom.
All those meetings, I bet.
Because there really is. Because I thought, I ran up to Central. I ran up to my parents and said, "This is what she says. Get over it." Yeah. That's what I thought when I first heard that.
This is worse than your parents. The Central Committee is worse than your parents. You know, and I think you've got to have that thought behind it too. Right. So I went up to the Central Committee. You know, all these guys that you hang out with all day, instead of being my father, instead of being my mother's husband, I went up to the Central Committee and I said, and when you say she said she believed in God, I was confused because Dad's an atheist.
That's right. And anybody who believes in God, they probably drop dead.
Yeah, really.
She's going to die.
Yeah, exactly. So I was confused. So I went, tell her she'll get over it.
Right.
So I did, and she went home. And I never saw her again.
Right.
Of course. Right. Because she came from religious parents, and they heard that, and they went, you stay away from that little girl.
Right.
Because she's completely wrong.
Right.
You've got to understand that whole experience, Anj, and then speak from that experience in growing up. And that's why back here is absolutely the answer, because you know what happened to you.
Right.
Right? And you know the name, fucking Claire. It's a fucking curse. It's not a name.
Right.
Why didn't you name me? Why'd you have to curse me with some sort of political
Because
ideology?
it was the goddamn cause.
Keep going.
The goddamn cause. Everybody else gets a two-wheeler when they're 12. I get Das Kapital in paperback. Every Sunday, you sent me out for Bagels and Lox and the Weekly Daily Worker. I hide it.
Good. See, that's that. Every Sunday you send me out for Bagels, Lock, and the Worker. In other words, that's another thing that you do. What do you do? What do you do? Every Sunday, what?
Every Sunday, you send me out for Bagels and Lox and the Weekend Daily Worker. I hide it in the bag so half of Flatbush Avenue won't point at me.
Yeah, right. So this is another thing that he puts on is I have to hide it in the bag.
Yeah.
Me as a kid, I have to hide this thing in the bag so
Right.
that no one will see that I'm carrying this around, because then they'll
Well, don't
go.
point at me.
So what do you do? Tell me about the Daily Worker. What do you have to do?
I have to hide it in the bag so half of Flatbush Avenue won't point at me. Kids fighting, kids at school avoiding me, daughters of the Reds. My only friend, Sally, we're down in the street on a Saturday. She tells me,
And this is unbelievable. We're down. And it's simple. It's simple.
down the street, we're playing, and all of a sudden she says, "I believe in God." I'm confused. I run up the stairs to the central committee and say, "Pop, Sally Marcus believes in God. What should I tell her?" "I tell her she'll get over it," you say. I tell her. She tells her mother. And the next day, I have no kid on the block to play with. Alone again. Alone.
Good. And it's not alone. Don't feel alone.
Alone.
I'm alone again.
I'm
This is
alone
what you
again.
did to me. I grew up my whole life alone.
Yeah.
This is what you
Alone.
did to me.
Alone. Alone again.
Yeah.
So I got married, had 2 children, lived a life. I got smart. And I fought battles which I knew I could win. That's what I've done.
Good. Much better. You'll see the difference in that in the playback, Anj.
Okay.
It's so much. That's the key element to this piece is you connecting with your childhood experiences and carrying them around and using them for your behalf in this particular moment with your father to finally persuade him,
Right.
possibly to persuade an unpersuadable man.
Right.
I'm persuading an unpersuadable man. This is such a great play.
I can't wait to read it, but by working on the monologue, I just felt like this is also my search for just, all I want is his love. I don't want Das Kapital. I just want him to, put me on a bicycle and have ridden and taught me to ride the bike.
Yeah, but that wasn't even, and what you're saying to him is that it wasn't even close to what my childhood was like.
Right.
You
Right.
cursed me with a name.
Right.
My friends were getting bicycles. I was getting copies of Das Kapital. I asked my friends, it's just a list. Here we go again, right? Here's a
Right.
list of things that you did. And if you make it a list of things, it becomes more powerful than a dramatic interpretation of those things, because that's clearly not what you're doing. You are listing the things that fucked you up. And this is nothing. This is just what happens, what comes to your mind in this moment.
Right.
As far as a complete list of what your father did to you, I need a month to work on that.
Mhm.
That's what you're really saying to him.
Oh, you're frozen. Oh,
Well,
right.
I wasn't frozen. I was just grabbing a drink. Okay. Good.
So can I bring this back next week along with the new?
Yes.
things, just to firm this up, and hopefully I'll get the scripts I can read. the whole
Yes. You will see how maddening this man can be. I mean, he's lovable and funny in so many different ways, but I couldn't imagine being his daughter and having to grow up with that same sense.
Right.
That he was trying to teach his little girl, to be just like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was important to him.
Mhm.
but he has no idea. And it's actually you standing up for yourself with your facts. But it's not pushing those facts in your face. It's just saying, listen, Dad, this is exactly what happened. I'm just saying, because then that makes you a whole person as opposed to a victim. Like you said, you can't be the victim here.
Right.
You have to actually be you actually turned out to be the daughter he wanted all along.
Right. I was thinking of her, if one question,
Mhm.
on being a victim. She is not a victim.
No.
Are characters who are victims in whatever play or thing has to turn around, right? To turn it around to be a strong person. You can't be a victim throughout a
Well,
whole.
in a poorly written play, you can be, yeah. In other words, for example, when I'm always trying to challenge my buddy Austin Pendleton with projects for ourselves, and I will send him a play. Years ago, I would send him the wrong play, meaning that nothing really would change in the context of the play for the character. And he just kept refusing. And then I finally understood what he was looking for as an actor is he doesn't want to play a role where the character doesn't start out in one place and end up someplace else and go through a process. That's the exciting part for him is going through the change in the process in the time limit of the play.
Right.
So yeah, that's what you're looking for in a well-written play. If a character falls back and stays back into the victim mode, it's either poorly written or there for some sort of dramatic purpose, but it's not a character that would be at all attractive.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yes.
So yeah. So again, and I think that goes a little bit with my theory, is that the thing that connects audiences to plays is the action of survival. How is a character, how does this character survive this father? That I'd be interested in knowing that, because my father bullied me a little bit when I was a kid too, right? In other words, that's what we're looking for, are survival techniques and people standing up for themselves, as opposed to just feeling like the victim and just arguing back like a little child. Somebody standing up for themselves for the first time is so empowering.
That's Biff in Death of
the
Self.
salesman.
Yeah. That great speech he finally has
at the end of the play. Yeah, exactly.
And picks his father up and says, "What does he say? Let me go. Just let me go."
It's the speech right after he finds the little rubber tube in the basement on the gas heater.
Yeah, and then that whole monologue about going to the office for the interview and then stealing the gold pen and running down the stairs. And in the middle of running down the stairs, so he says, "What am I doing? What am I?" And that's where it hits him.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's the best play of the 20th century. I think. Best American play of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I will try to break that habit of wanting to,
Don't, Ange.
Yes.
Don't break this. This is truthful, right?
Yes.
Just manifest this
into
back
that.
here in your. It's not your instinct is right about the power of it and how important it is to her, but where you're getting the information is back here.
Okay.
Right. That's where it is. That's where it's really powerful. I know this happened to me, and you were there, and I was there, and as opposed to what, and just anytime you're doing that, it's almost like, and I think in real class, I used to say, when people are doing a scene and they lean over to try to make a point, they're actually weakening themselves. Because your strength is in your stature in standing up. And so if I'm trying to make a really strong point to you, my instinct is to want to go like that because I'm trying to make a strong point, but it weakens me by doing that. I'm stronger if I hold my stature, if I say who I am. That's that's my strength.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yes.
That was a demonstration of strength.
Thank you.
It's the best I can do on TV.
You know, Bill, I wanted to ask you a question about, because this keeps going through my mind, because we're always talking about tell me, don't explain to me,
Right.
and we're always trying to be as natural as possible. And of course,
Right.
everything you've just worked on with Anj to, that it's much more powerful, blah, blah. But, it makes me think that in life, there are some people who are very big. There are two kinds of people in a way. There are people who are very big in life and you go, all right, that's, calm down, it's too much. And then there are people who are kind of big in their lives, they're over, and they're captivating, you know what I'm saying? And they're quite moving and quite captivating, So how do you balance, it's the thought about how do you balance that out with on stage, I guess, when you're, is the character a bigger, maybe they are?
Question.
Well, I mean, the character, for example, so you get big Greek man, right? This is who I am. I'm big Greek man. I know everything. I'm very wise. That's who I am, right? So I'm not trying. If I try to add bigness on top of that, then I'm over the top. But if I find who that character is and speak from their truth, that's how you decide that bigness. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's centrally who you are.
From who
the
they are.
line should never be anything that you're trying to manipulate to show me something about the character. That should never be the case. I am the character. This is the place I'm speaking from. This is what I'm doing, right? And that's exactly, I am a big fat ass, whatever. That's who I am. That's just, and that's okay. I can say anything from there and get away with it if you make me believe you are that character.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to do more with character than what you're doing with it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Instead of displaying.
Yeah, exactly. I am this. Yes, this is who I am. Right. Exactly. And you are a smart, intelligent. Well, you'll read all of this. You'll understand, and you'll understand what your father thinks of you from his point of view too. Because the whole play is he's talking to an African American who he meets in the park every day, and that's where the bulk of the play is there. And then all of a sudden, his life is thrust into this, and all of his political stuff starts coming around. So it's a cool play. I haven't seen it in so long. Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's do let's do a little art.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
If we have a few minutes after we're done with this, there's that monologue from this that I used to do when he's trying to first figure out why he's bothered by this. That it would be fun to just try it now after having done.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is to try to temper this time a little bit for the three of you, so that we get a little work on art done him, but that Eric gets a little shot at his piece, and Vasily gets a little shot at his piece.
That's
and
right.
you get
Okay, they're doing. It's okay. It's not a big deal. If we don't have to do it this week. It's okay.
No. I'm pretty good with time. I can make that happen. If you guys haven't noticed that up to this point.
I forgot that. I just thought we were doing this piece and that we were done after that. That's why I said, but whatever.
Mike,
sorry.
I've always had this really unbelievable sense of time. I don't know why. It's just some sort of, I don't know. So don't worry, I'll try to get it in. All right, here we go. Oh, there's Vasily. All right.
What?
Yep, let's start with art, and then what I'm going to do is give each of you about 10 minutes at the end of the night to run over your individual concerns that have nothing to do with this scene that we're doing.
Want to close the door, Vasily? Oh. That was funny. As I said that, Bill was leaning over almost as if he was closing the door.
Okay.
So Eric, I'll call line to you right? Because you.
Okay.
This is what we did before. If I don't know if I get lost.
Okay, here we go.
Oh yes, I thought of you today at the store. We ran all 500 posters by this guy who paints white flowers totally white on a white background.
Antrios is not white.
No, of course not. I was just saying.
You think this painting is not white, Ivan?
Not entirely. No.
Ah, and what color is it?
Various colors. There's yellow. There's gray. Some slightly ochreish lines.
And you're moved by these colors?
Yes. I'm moved by these colors.
You're spineless, Ivan. You have no substance. You're an amoeba.
Why are you attacking Yvonne like this?
Lying. Because he's a little ass kisser. He's obsequious. He's obsequious. He's a little ass kisser. He's lying.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at you.
He's dazzled.
I just want to stop. I want to stop for a second and just say how unfair it is that Eric has to try to suffer through his lines and also cue everybody else. I just find that to be a little bit too.
Well, he did it before when we were rehearsing. That's why. So, but okay, it's all right. You know what? I have it here. I could really just look at it if I have.
Connect to you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And I like that new line that you added to it because I think it does really help launch the beginning.
Context, yeah.
Also realize, Vasily, this moment might be familiar to you. At the very beginning is that you can feel Mark's presence in the room, which is what's dictating how you're saying what you're saying. Is you, like you said, you've always been the peacemaker, right? You can feel that there's going to be trouble here, and that you're going to be locked between a rock and a hard place. And you need to feel that from the very beginning. What's the very first thing, the line that you added to it? Just do those first. I want you guys to do the first 3 lines. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh yes. I thought of you today at the store. We're in all 500 posters by this guy who paints white flowers totally white on a white background.
The Antrios is not white.
Okay, good, great. Okay, good. So, Eric, you need to have a stronger opinion about that.
Right, but I also I'm sort of, we're both sort of vying for Ivan's loyalty, right? So I don't want to attack him.
Well, yes, I know that, but what I'm saying is you want to set him straight.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I
Let's do it
mean,
again.
in other words,
I got it.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we talk about last week that I wanted you each to focus on standing up for yourselves in this discussion? Right?
Yes, you did, but when I read it, I feel like a lot of what he's doing is sort of trying to bring Ivan over to his side.
Of course, of course he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he is trying to bring Ivan to his side. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Start it again.
Okay.
Oh yes, I thought of you today at the store. We're in all 500 posters by this guy who paints white flowers totally white on a white background.
The Antrios is not white.
No, of course not. I was just saying.
You think this painting is not white, Ivan?
Not entirely. No.
Ah, so what colors do you think there are there then?
Various colors. There's yellow, there's gray, some slightly ochreish lines.
And you're moved by these colors?
Yeah, yes, I am moved by these colors.
You're spineless, Ivan. You have no substance. You're an amoeba.
Why are you attacking Ivan like this?
Because he's a little ass kisser. He's obsequious, dazzled by money, dazzled by what he believes to be culture, which, as you know, culture is something I absolutely piss on.
What's gotten into you?
How could you, Ivan? In front of me. In front of me, Ivan.
What do you mean in front of you? What do you mean in front of you? I find this colors touching, yes. If it's all the same to you, stop wanting to control everything.
How could you say in front of me that you find these colors touching?
Because this is true.
True? You find these colors touching?
Yes, I find this colors touching.
You find these colors touching, Ivan.
He finds these colors touching. He's perfectly entitled to.
No, he's not entitled to.
I'm not entitled to?
No.
Why is he not entitled to? I don't think you're very well. Maybe you should go see somebody.
He's not entitled to say he finds these colors touching because he doesn't.
I don't find this colors touching.
Sorry.
Good. So really what you're saying is you're telling me that I don't find these colors touching. You're telling me that. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me that? And go ahead. You don't find these. Go.
I don't find this colors touching.
There are no colors. You can't see them, and you don't find them touching.
Oh, speak for yourself.
This is really demeaning, Ivan.
Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You pride yourself on not being a man of your time.
What's that supposed to mean? A man of my time.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving. I don't see why I have to put up with your tantrums.
Don't go. You're not going to start taking offense, are you? If you go, you're giving in to him. A man of his time is a man who lives in his own time.
Bullshit. How can a man live in any other time but his own? Answer me that.
A man of his time is someone of whom it can be said in 20 or 100 years, he was representative of his era.
To what end?
What do you mean, to what end?
What use is it to me if someday somebody says I was representative of my era?
Listen, sweetheart, we're not talking about you. If you can imagine such a thing, we don't give a fuck about you. A man of his time, I'm trying to explain to you, like most people you admire, is someone who makes some kind of contribution to the human race. A man of his time doesn't assume the history of art has come to an end with a pseudo-Flemish view of Cavaillon.
Carcassonne.
Same thing. A man of his time plays his part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution.
And that's a good thing in your view?
It's not good or bad. Why do you always have to moralize? It's just the way things are.
And you, for example, you play a part in the dynamic, fundamental dynamic of evolution?
I do.
What about Ivan?
In his way, Ivan, oh, I'm sorry.
Surely not. What part can amoeba play?
In his way, Ivan is a man of his time.
How could you tell? Not from that motel painting he has hanging on his wall.
It is not a motel painting.
It is a motel painting.
Oh, it is not.
What's the difference? Ivan represents a certain way of life, a way of thinking which is completely modern, and so do you. I'm sorry, but you're a typical man of your time. And in fact, the harder you try not to be, the more you are.
Well, okay then, fine. So what's the problem?
There's no problem except you. Because you take pride in your desire to shut yourself off from humanity. And you'll never manage to do it. It's like you're in quicksand. The more you struggle to get out of it, the deeper you sink. Now, apologize to Ivan.
Ivan's a coward.
Good, good, good. Eric, what was your line? You take pride in what? Say that.
You take pride in not being a man of your time.
Yeah. In other words, you know him. You take pride in not being a man of your time. I mean, I know you. I've lived with you. I know that, right? Right. And then what's the back part of that? You take time.
This is where he really gives it to Mark. He says, "Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate?" That's that line. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, exactly. But it's got to have.
Who do you think you are, Mark?
I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on, man. I mean, I've been with you for a long time, and I've been watching you guys. There was a couple of sections in here that you guys really hit the rhythm of the friendship correct. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were all connected over a period of time. I could really feel that at a certain point, and there was a couple little places. If we can maintain that feeling the whole scene, then we've really got something. The two things that have to happen is I think, John, I think you're closest to, I mean, you really are understanding. You are really being the agitator here. You are really trying to push it. And Eric, you can't be, there can't be any sense of niceness in what you're trying to come back with him. It's trying to make him stand up for who he is and who he says he is. And this is the moment that is coming, that is bringing you to that point. You can't give him any space. Don't give him any space. And that doesn't have to do with a loud thing. That just means, listen, I've been acquiescing to you for how many years? I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to let you out intellect me. I know exactly what he says that one line about art. You go, same thing. You know, it's just like, Jesus Christ, you intellectual fucking snob. Right, exactly. It's exactly.
And also when he says, why are you attacking Yvonne? Why are you attacking Yvonne like this?
Yeah, wait, what does it have to do with, yeah, exactly. What the fuck are you doing?
Right. Why are you attacking Yvonne like this? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Good. And Yvonne, oh my God, you're just so perfect for this. There are a couple sections here. There's just one or two sections that I would love to have you use your relationship with John in replying back to him in little things that I've seen over the years, right? Is because there's this same sense of, who am I being loyal to here? I'm being loyal to myself. That's who I'm being loyal to, right? That's eventually who Yvonne, I think he feels pressure from both sides at the beginning, and then finally it's like, yes, this is what I believe, this is it, and you got to hang on to that all the way through. Okay, don't let it go. What's the amoeba line in context again? It's what is that?
Surely not. What part can an amoeba play?
Yeah, and what's the cue line for that?
What about Yvonne?
I think it was about the fundamental dynamic of evolution.
Man of his time.
Well, I asked Serge. I say, I knew you play your part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution. He says, I do. I say, what about Yvonne? And that's where Yvonne responds.
And then what about Yvonne? And Yvonne says what?
Surely not. What part can an amoeba play?
Right. So that's pretty. It's a very funny line, right? Oh, sure. Yeah, leave me out of this. I'm only an amoeba. You know, that's right. You declared me an amoeba. So leave me out of this, right? Yes. Right. So you get that joke?
I know what it is. I just want to find kind of the other way to describe what it is. It's a kind of a sarcastic remark in a way.
It is a sarcastic remark, absolutely. But it's absolutely it's sharply sarcastic. Exactly.
Exactly.
It's like if I called you an asshole instead of an amoeba, and I said you know forget it, you're just an asshole, and then you're saying, well,
yeah, surely.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah. Well, what can an
surely
asshole bring?
What part can an amoeba play?
Yeah. Really. So, bye. I'm leaving. You don't need me. I'm only. Yeah, really. Okay, let's do it this time again. Let's try it again. All right. And this time, try to maintain this camaraderie between like you guys have had discussions all of your lives. So let's try to really maintain that relationship. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, yes. I thought of you today at the store. We were in all 500 posters by this guy who paints the flowers totally white on a white background.
The Antrios is not
white. No, of course not. I was just saying.
Yeah, right. So let's make your opening remark a very innocent remark. Like, by the way, I was at the market today and there was this guy who painted like white flowers, it was like white on white flowers. Wow. Isn't that amazing? I was, while we're doing this and he's going, no, you're missing the point. It's not white. You're missing.
It's not white.
Yeah. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. I understand what you're saying there, but you're missing the point, right? Okay. That makes you the artist. All right, here we go. Once again, start.
Oh yes, I thought of you today at the store. We're in all 500 posters by this guy who paints white flowers, totally white, on a white background.
The Antrios is not white.
No, of course not. I was just saying.
You think this painting is not white, Ivan?
Not entirely, no.
Ah, so then what color is it?
Various colors. There's yellow, there is gray, some slight ochreish lines.
And you're moved by these colors?
Yes. I am moved by these colors.
You're spineless, Ivan. You have no substance. You're an amoeba.
Why are you attacking Ivan like this?
Because he's a little ass kisser. He's obsequious, dazzled by money, dazzled by what he believes culture to be, which, by the way, and that, culture is something that I absolutely piss on.
What's gotten into you?
I can't believe you're doing this, Ivan. And in front of me, Ivan.
What do you mean in front of you? What do you mean in front of you? I find these colors touching. Yes, if it is all the same to you, stop wanting to control everything.
How can you say in front of me you find these colors touching?
Because it's the truth.
The truth? You find these colors touching?
Yes, I find these colors touching.
You find these colors touching, Ivan.
He finds these colors touching. He's perfectly entitled to.
No, he's not entitled to.
What do you mean he's not entitled to?
He's not entitled to.
I'm not entitled to?
No.
Why is he not entitled to? I don't think you're very well. Maybe you should go see someone.
He's not entitled to say he finds these colors touching because he doesn't.
I don't find these colors touching?
There are no colors. You can't see them and you don't find them touching.
Speak for yourself.
This is very demeaning, Ivan.
Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You pride yourself on not being a man of your time.
What's that supposed to mean? A man of my time.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving. I don't see why I have to put up with your tantrums.
Don't go. You're not going to start taking offense, are you? If you go, you're giving in to him. A man of his time is a man who lives in his own time.
Good, I want to go back. So the tantrums, who's throwing the tantrums? It's Mark, right? It's Mark's the reason you're leaving, right, Ivan? It's Mark's tantrums that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Well, also maybe the conflict between Mark and Serge that he's uncomfortable with too.
No, but I think he's held on to the big exchange that they just had,
Okay.
and so that remark is definitely directed at Mark, not you, right? You're another party to that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back to the big argument between these two that starts it off. What the color thing, John?
Yeah.
I'm not entitled.
How could you say in front of me that you find these colors touching?
I'm lost in
In the middle of page 29, lower page 29.
Because it's the truth, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. And before you start this, so also, how could you say that in front of me? How could you say that in front of me? That's the place that I want Vasily to use your relationship. How could you say that? How could you say that in front of me? Right, exactly. Like we have a special relationship. And let's go. Here we go.
How could you say in front of me that you find these colors touching?
What do you mean in front of you? What do you mean in front of you? I find this colors touching, yes. If it's all the same to you, stop wanting to control everything.
How can you say in front of me that you find these colors touching?
Because it's the truth.
The truth? You find these colors touching?
Yes, I find this colors touching.
You find these colors touching, Ivan.
He finds these colors touching. He's perfectly entitled to.
No, he's not entitled to.
What do you mean he's not entitled to?
He's not entitled to.
I'm not entitled to?
No.
Why is he not entitled to? I don't think you're very well. Maybe you should go see somebody.
He's not entitled to say that he finds these colors touching because he doesn't.
I don't find these colors touching?
There are no colors, and you don't see them, and you don't find them touching.
Oh, speak for yourself!
This is very demeaning, Ivan.
Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You pride yourself on not being a man of your time.
What's that supposed to mean? A man of my time.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving. I don't see why I have to put up with your tantrums.
Don't go. You're not starting to take offense, are you? If you go, you're giving in to him. I'm sorry. A man of his time is a man who lives in his own time.
Bullshit. How can a man live in any other time but his own?
A man of his time is someone of whom it can be said in 20 years or 100 years' time, he was representative of his era.
To what end?
What do you mean, to what end?
Oh, what use is it to me if someday somebody says I was representative of my era?
Listen, sweetheart, we're not talking about you, if you can imagine such a thing. We don't give a fuck about you. A man of his time, I'm trying to explain to you, like most people you admire, is someone who makes some kind of contribution to the human race. A man of his time doesn't assume the history of art comes to an end with a pseudo-Flemish view of Cavaillon.
Carcassonne.
Same thing. A man of his time plays his part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution.
And this is a good thing in your view?
It's not good or bad. Why do you always have to moralize? It's just the way things are.
And you, for example, you play your part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution?
I do.
What about Ivan?
Surely not. What part can amoeba play?
In his way, Ivan is a man of his time.
How can you tell? Not from the motel painting as hanging on his wall.
That is not a motel painting.
It is a motel painting.
Oh, it is not.
What's the difference? Ivan represents a certain way of life, a way of thinking which is completely modern. And so do you. I'm sorry, but you're a typical man of your time. And in fact, the harder you try not to be, the more you are.
Well, okay then, fine. So what's the problem?
There is no problem, except for you, because you take pride in your desire to shut yourself off from humanity, and you'll never manage to. It's like you're in quicksand, and the more you struggle to get out of it, the deeper you sink. Now apologize to Ivan.
Ivan's a coward.
Good, guys. Much better. Much better. You're gonna love that. Oh, some really great sections. I want to go over this one other section for you, Eric. It's a list section, right? You've got a list. What is the list? First thing is you don't like anything.
Oh yeah.
Give me the list.
Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone.
No, don't interpret that. Who are you today? Number one, you don't like anything. Make it a list. Go ahead, see what happens.
Who do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You pride yourself on not being a man of your time.
And then Mark picks up on, what do you mean, me not being a man of my time?
What's
Right?
that?
Right, yeah. The important thing is that you make the list and then Mark picks out that one thing because that's the only thing that just is not ring true to him, right? But it's just got to be part of a list. If you make each of those list things dramatic, then it seems like he's picking on a dramatic area as opposed to picking out one little area of the list.
Okay.
Okay? It was great. It was another example of how when you get a list of things, just fucking list them because the list is the point. The point you're trying to make is that Mark is too much. He's just too much in every category. Right?
Oh yeah, no, I was saying, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was saying like you don't like anything.
Right, exactly. No.
Everyone. Yeah.
And the point is, you don't like anything, you don't da-da-da-da, you don't da-da-da. What do you mean I don't da-da-da-da?
Who
Right?
do you think you are, Mark? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You pride yourself on not being a man of your time.
Fuck, I can't wait till you see that replay. That's just, you just nailed it, Eric. That's exactly it. That's exactly who the center of that character is.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so good, Vasily, so good in what you were doing with him. I really felt the dynamic of the relationship in that time through. I really did. And your little sarcastic remark about the amoeba was just priceless. Absolutely priceless. It just came, yeah, absolutely great. Really good, guys. Really good. This is it. See that, but this is the thing, all right? I want to give you one more week on this because I really want to see what happens because I can't really show you how to apply what I'm trying to teach you in a scene unless all of you are off book. Because what I'm doing is, what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing a section where John is speaking and I'm looking at Vasily, and Vasily is down there and he's looking at where his next line is coming on the script. And Eric, you know, I mean, you're not, the three of you need to be in the discussion. And I don't necessarily mean that that's eye contact, but what I'm trying to say to you is the real risk in scene acting is that I'm really listening to what that other character is saying. And I have such confidence in what I know I'm going to reply that I'm not sub-vocalizing or looking at what's coming up next. That's the real danger in scene work that you don't get to approach in monologue work, right? Because you're your own cue in monologue work, right? Now, can I really listen and process what this other person is saying and reply without sub-vocalizing when I know I've got to reply next? Can I really listen to that? And I can't get you to feel that until all three of you are off book. Does that make sense?
Yes, get off book is the message.
Yeah, because if you want to...
You're not entitled to.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to be able to apply what I'm trying to teach you to scene work, that's the only way I can help you. It happened with the girls scene, you know, when Karen and yeah, and we saw the difference in that last week when they were all off and they could all play with it, and it really had a chance to mix it up and be involved in the discussion. So, but I think you guys got the basics, and I think you understand it this week, and I think it's really, I just want to see it go to that last step where you really know what you're doing. And so that you can really react and focus on who you're focusing on. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
It's good. It's
exciting, and this is great writing also. Wonderful.
Oh, it is great writing.
Really wonderful.
Yeah, she's an incredibly wonderful writer. Yeah.
Does she have any plays with women in it?
Yeah. Actually, I think I told you about this. There's a play she wrote called Life Times 3. And it's the same scene. I think it's a 3 or 4 character play. I think it's a 3 character play. It's the same scene done 3 times from each of the characters' point of view.
Oh,
Wow.
Life times 3. It's like we all see the same dialogue in a completely different way from a completely different point of view. It's brilliant. And I've never seen a production of the piece, but I had to read it once for a producer to see if he asked me if I wanted to direct it. I went, oh yeah, please let me direct this. And then he never gave me the job.
Sounds like Rashomon in a way, right? Isn't Rashomon a play where everybody has a different point of view of what they've seen?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Or-
Japanese
Yeah.
film.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay,
But
great.
it's a play
Very
also.
good.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I want you guys to get off book next week.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say to Anj, Mel, and Cindy, if any of you want, I would love to do a scene with one of you if anybody
Me
wants.
too.
I would.
If you have any ideas and you contact me, whatever, throw it out.
Okay, great.
You all have each other's email, right? You all can
Right.
contact each other,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all in the emails. Yeah, so let me
Okay.
know.
All right.
So can I do my quick one? My
Yeah, I was just getting to that.
And Mel, will you be mine?
I will agree. Just give me the page or,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The page is. I think. Do you have this?
yeah.
Okay. It's page 54.
Okay.
Okay, this is the monologue that Eric started to do last week,
Yeah.
which is the trial in Mad Woman of Chaillot, where the rag picker plays the rich man who's on trial.
Would you actually, Mel, do me a favor and read up where the Countess starts and says, "You are charged with the crime of worshiping money," and then just
Okay.
go to Josephine and see, "Do you plead guilty or not guilty? Guilty, which is it?" Will you do those 2 lines?
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
You are charged with the crime of worshiping money.
No, then Josephine's line.
Oh, and then do you plead guilty or not guilty? Which is it?
Yes or no? Say yes or no. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So you want me just to lie all of those lines together?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll start again. Sorry. You are charged with the crime of worshiping money. Do you plead guilty or not guilty? Which is it? Yes or no?
No. I don't worship money. Why? It's just the other way around. Money worships me. It adores me. It won't let me alone. The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy, a golden-haired child in the bosom of my dear family. It came to me in the form of a gold brick, which, in my innocence, I picked out of a garbage can one day while playing. I was horrified, as you can imagine. I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad, which, to my consternation, at once sold for 100 times its value. In a desperate effort to get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern Refineries, the Galerie Lafayette, the Schneider Crusoe Munitions Works. And now I'm stuck with them. Everyone knows the poor are alone to blame for their poverty. It's only just they suffer the consequences. But how is it the fault of the rich if they're rich? It's a horrible fate. But I'm resigned to it. I don't ask for your sympathy. I don't ask for your pity. All I ask for is a little human understanding.
Hold that right there. Start. Ask him the question again. Hold that energy, Eric.
Say yes or no.
Just say yes
or no?
No, I don't worship money.
Good. All right. So you're giving me a dramatic expression of no, as opposed to you're on the stand. No. You know, that's the answer is no.
Yeah, I know, Bill. I'm just having trouble with the second layer of this, which is, you know, he's playing with this character.
Yes.
I'm just having trouble.
Let me reinterpret that.
Not making it absurd. Too absurd.
He's not playing with the character. He's playing the character. He's not playing with the character.
Oh, okay.
He's playing the character because he knows him.
Okay, because he
really well. I know him really well.
Observed these people all of his life.
Yeah, that's like, it's absurd. No. Yeah. So let's just simplify it. All right. Okay. So remember that the entire monologue is the answer to, are you guilty or not guilty? Yes or no. The
No,
entire, no.
no, no, I don't worship money. Why, it's just the other way around. Money worships me.
Right. Exactly.
Adores me.
Exactly.
Let me alone.
No. Now don't make it, look, it's just the other way around. Money worships me. It's not my fault.
Money worships me. It adores me. It won't let me alone.
Yeah.
The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy.
Okay, no. So don't rush it. So at
Okay.
first, when my money came to me, you know,
Right.
now you've got to make this logical. This is so logical, right? Because you
Okay.
understand their logic. And go first, go.
The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy.
Yeah.
A golden-haired child in the bosom of my dear family.
Right. Meaning, what does that really mean? That when you're a mere
He was
child,
totally innocent.
I'm
and was
completely innocent. The first time it
not-
came to me, I was just a
not
kid.
seeking money. He was not seeking money. He didn't want to acquire money.
Yes.
Those were not his values.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy, a golden-haired child in the bosom of my family. It came to me in the guise of a gold brick, which, in my innocence, I picked out of a garbage can one day.
Good. And again, which in my innocence, because I was a kid, right? It's the you got to hold the logic of this story together, Eric. And go.
The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy, a golden-haired child in the bosom of my dear family. It came to me in the guise of a gold brick, which, in my innocence, I picked out of a garbage can one day while playing.
Yeah, I know. Shit.
I was horrified, as you can imagine. I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little.
Good. Now, I immediately tried to get rid of it. I'm telling you, I went to the garbage can. I wanted to throw that motherfucker out.
In the guise of a gold brick, which, in my innocence, I picked out of a garbage can one day while playing. I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad.
Yeah.
And
Good. So you purposely swapped it for a rundown railroad because you wanted to get rid of it.
right, because I didn't think the railroad had any value.
Yeah. I purposely put it into something that I knew was going to fail.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not my fault. I actually got the money, and in trying to get rid of it, I gave it to something that I knew would lose all the money.
Right. I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad, which to my consternation at once sold for 100 times its value. In a desperate effort to get rid of it.
Okay, good. Now let's hold. Which to my motherfucking consternation, even though I was trying to get rid of it,
Right. Okay.
sold for fucking twice its value. Fuck. I mean, that pissed you off, right? So what did you do with the gold? What did you do the first time you had it? What?
I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad, which to my consternation immediately sold for 100 times its worth. In a desperate effort to get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern Railroad, Les Galeries Lafayette, the Schneider-Crusoe Munitions Works, and now I'm
Good. So in order, once that was a success, then you started buying everything.
right. To get rid of it.
So it doesn't matter. It's a list of things that you bought. So I started buying everything. This, I bought this, I bought this, I bought this, I bought this. It's a list.
To get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern Railroads, the Galeries Lafayette, the Schneider-Crusoe Munitions.
Don't describe them. Make a list of them. What did you buy? List it.
In a desperate effort to get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern refineries. Sorry. They're kind of a tongue twister there.
I know.
In a desperate effort to get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern refineries, like Galeries Lafayette, the Schneider-Crusoe Munitions Works, and now I'm stuck with them. Everyone knows the poor are alone to blame for their poverty. It's only just they suffer the consequences.
Good. So that's got to be. I mean, like everybody knows.
Right. Everyone knows the poor are alone to blame for their poverty.
Yeah.
It's only just they suffer the consequences. How is it the fault of the rich if they're rich? It's a horrible fate. But I'm resigned to it.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
Great. Much better. You feel the difference in that, Eric?
Yeah.
You've got to make the logic of that story. It's absolutely disgusting. I tried to get rid of it, but the motherfucking thing made money. And then I just started buying things, thinking that maybe I would lose it that way. And I did this and I did that.
And now I'm stuck with him.
Yes.
Now I'm stuck with him. What am I to do?
Yes, exactly.
It's not my fault. It just keeps coming to me. I can't help it.
Yes. That's exactly it, Eric.
Yeah.
God, it sounds like Ivanka Trump.
Oh, wow.
Right.
You definitely have to do this play, Bill.
Oh, God, I do have to do this play so badly. I want to do this play.
Can I
Like
give
I say,
it another shot?
What's that?
Can I give it another shot?
Yeah, sure.
So Mel, wherever you want to start, you can just say yes or no.
Okay. Do you plead guilty or not guilty? Yes or no?
No. Sorry. No. No. No, I don't worship money. No, I don't worship money.
Would you ask him the question again? Okay, good. Here we go. Go, Mel.
Guilty or not guilty? Yes or no?
No, I don't worship money. Well, it's just the other way around. Money worships me. It adores me. It won't let me alone. The first time money came to me, I was a mere boy, a golden-haired child in the bosom of my dear family. It came to me in the guise of a gold brick, which, in my innocence, I picked out of a garbage can one day while playing. I was horrified, as you can imagine. I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad, which I immediately tried to get rid of it by swapping it for a little rundown one-track railroad, which to my consternation, I'm sorry.
You're in exactly the right place, which to my motherfucking consternation did what?
Which to my consternation, at once sold for 100 times its value. In a desperate effort to get rid of this money, I began to buy things. I bought the Northern Refineries, the Galerie Lafayette, the Schneider Crusoe Munitions Works, and now I'm stuck with them. Everyone knows the poor are alone to blame for their poverty. It's only just they suffer the consequences. But how is it the fault of the rich if they're rich? It's a horrible fate. And I'm resigned to it. I don't ask for your sympathy. I don't ask for your pity. All I ask for is a little human understanding.
Yes. Eric, yes, you finally got it. You'll see it. You'll see it. Nice job. Really nice job. Isn't that fun?
It is fun. Yeah. No, it is.
It is. You know, and the funny thing about it, you know, the first time that you get it, I was playing in the garbage and I found a gold brick. Well, you know, of course, you were playing in your rich daddy's garbage and there was a gold brick in there, right? Yeah, right. Which is absolutely, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't get rid of it no matter what I did. Jesus. But all of a sudden.
The sort of peak of that is, and now I'm stuck with them. You know?
Yes, yeah, right. Everybody knows that the poor is responsible for that. So why should the rich suffer? Fuck, yeah, absolutely.
Right. How is it the fault of the rich if they're rich? Money just comes to them. It's not their fault.
Yes.
It was drawn to me. I had nothing to do with it.
Hey, guys, here is the perfect case where he is the victim.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
And that's what makes it funny, is if he is completely the victim. I'm rich and I'm the victim. Fuck.
Is completely absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the absurdity of you can't play the character of absurdity. You have to play the absurdity of the situation.
Right.
See that? Good. Nice work, Eric.
Thanks.
Finally cracked that motherfucker. You finally cracked.
I guess I misunderstood. I just had a lot of trouble with the conceit of it, but
yeah.
I think we found it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, it's an absurd story, isn't it? I mean, I went to the garbage, and the first time I found it, I was just a kid. I went to the garbage, and I found a gold brick. So I invested it in this railroad, this disgusting waste of time, motherfucking railroad, and it tripled.
Nation.
Right, and then I started doing this and this and this. I just can't get. I don't know. I can't get rid of it. I can't. It's not.
No, I'm stuck with it.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So, Vasily, you said you wanted to run through that piece. This is the piece you already did, right?
Vasily, turn yourself on.
Your voice is on.
You're mute.
Yes, I did. I videotaped it. I sent it out. I didn't know
Okay, good. All right.
how it was. John says it was fine. And he said it was great.
That's good. What's he going to say? What's he want to get in trouble?
Well, you can see already his reaction and smile.
Oh, I believe him anyway. You guys are tougher critics on each other. I'm sure you guys are interesting. All right, here we go. Let's try it. Let me see what it is.
The making of an American begins at that point where he himself rejects all other ties, any other history, and himself adopts the vesture of his adopted land. The problem has been faced by all Americans throughout their history. In a way, it is our history, and it baffles the immigrant and sets on edge the second generation until today. In the case of the Negro, the past was taken from him, whether he would or no. Yet, to forswear it was meaningless and availed him nothing, since his shameful history was carried quite literally on his brow. Shameful. For he was heathen as well as black, and would never have discovered the healing blood of Christ had we not braved the jungles to bring him these glad tidings. Shameful. For since our role as missionary had not been wholly disinterested, it was necessary to recall the shame from which we had delivered him in order more easily to escape our own. That's all.
So this is spoken from the point of view of another immigrant, but not an African American.
Yeah.
So actually that works well for you because you're sort of a Russian immigrant yourself, right?
Yeah, that's why I picked that, because there was another option. So I thought to myself, okay, so.
No, it makes perfect sense from your point of view, right? What do
Yeah.
you think? What do you think is actively what you're trying to say? What are you trying to? What point are you making? Tell me what point you're making in one sentence. What's different? What's the point you're making between the difference between being an African immigrant and a Russian immigrant?
No, to me personally, what it makes sense to me, I have to reject all the other ties and any other history, and himself adapts to the vesture of his adopted land.
Yeah.
And the black man is totally, completely taken away.
Yeah.
Whatever is taken away.
Yeah.
Even his faith.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Keep going. And then not only on top of the fact that we took his faith away from him, we went in there and gave him our faith.
That's right.
Right? I mean, isn't that has that ever crossed any of your guys' mind during all of this Black Lives Matter thing, is it being all born in the church and that in fact the Africans seem more religious in Christianity than the white people do. You know, they seem to have a better understanding of Christianity than the people who went over and pulled them out of their land and
Faith.
what's that?
Or faith.
Yeah.
Faith is the better word than Christianity.
Well, but it really truly is Christianity. So, you know, I mean,
Going to
Yeah. Yeah.
Zoom class. Can I call you back in a little while?
yeah. Okay. That's Cindy on the phone up in the corner.
Oh.
Her phone just rang. Start it again for me, Vasily. Okay, here we go.
The making of an American begins at that point where he himself rejects all other ties, any other history, and himself adopts the vesture of his adopted land.
Good, I want to go back. I want you to make sure that you put a period at the end of that first sentence before you go on to the second sentence.
It's just one sentence.
That's all one sentence? All right, well, let me show you where I want you to put a period then. Go ahead, read it again.
The making of an American begins at that point where he himself rejects all other ties, any
Period.
other history.
Period. Right.
Okay.
Where he rejects all other ties. Next sentence. Any other, you know, in other words, that's an extension on top.
Even though there is a comma.
Yeah. Well, there's a comma there? Yeah. Okay, good. So that's what I was feeling that I didn't feel. In other words, that, again, because clarity is always an issue with you, is making sure that you take the time to express that complete thought before you go on to the thought after the comma is important. You can't run through that comma. I'm just saying almost make the comma a period so that you end with, and then the next line is a further example of what you've already said.
Mm-hmm.
And keep building on that, the logic of that. Because what I've got to see is the logic of what you're saying, because the logic of what you're saying is brilliant. And so you need to bring clarity to the logic of what this character is saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. You don't have to play a character. All you're doing is bringing clarity to the logic of this character. You already are the character. And here we go.
The making of an American begins at that point where he himself rejects all other ties, any other history, and himself adopts the vesture of his adopted land. This problem has been faced by all Americans throughout our history. In a way, it is our history. And it baffles the immigrant and sets on edge the second generation until today. In the case of the Negro, the past was taken from him, whether he would or no. Yet for forswear it was meaningless and availed him nothing, since his shameful history was carried quite literally on his brow.
I need to stop you. The first half of the story, the white man's story, was great. It was absolutely great. That's point A. Now, let's go from the last line of the white man's story and then tell me how it is different until today. I mean, until today. Today, everything changed. Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. Today, everything changed. Now bring me what that change is in the second half. All right, here we go.
I'll start from the previous one.
Good.
This problem has been faced by all Americans throughout our history. In a way, it is our history. And it baffles our immigrant and sets on edge the second generation until today. In the case of the Negro, the past was taken away from him whether he would or no. Yet to forswear it was meaningless and availed him nothing, since his shameful history was carried quite literally on his brow. Shameful. For he was heathen as well as black, and would never have discovered the healing blood of Christ had we not braved the jungles to bring him these glad tidings. Shameful. For since our role as missionary had not been wholly disinterested, it was necessarily to recall the shame from which we had delivered him in order more easily to escape our own.
Exactly. So much better. So much more logical. And what it is that critical point that we stopped at before is the critical point of the monologue, because it is really your point of view. You're saying that even though you are a Russian immigrant, when you came over here and you adapted to us, at least you could hold on to your memories. At least you could hold on to what happened to you before, but until today. And after this, and on top of all, and this is what you're saying, and on top of all of that, we went in there and gave them our religion. We didn't even allow them to remember their beliefs. We went in there and gave them our religion. And the clarity of those two things is really, really important. It's good. It's a good piece. It's a nice little piece, especially spoken from your point of view. But did you feel the difference when you were trying to be clear about the difference, Vasily?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what that first time through was missing, was a clarity, because the piece is not about character or situation. It's about a real clear point in understanding how immigration was different from African Americans than it was for any other race that immigrated to America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
John, you said you wanted to do a short piece.
Yeah. This is,
Okay.
so again, it's Mark from Art, but it's one of the, I did this last year. What you've seen me. I think the first time you met me, I did it for you.
Okay, good. Do you feel different about it now?
Yeah.
Good.
I think after, that's why I just wanted to kind of take a shot at it.
Sure.
So this is the monologue. I think it's the scene right after he sees the painting for the first time and has the interaction with Serge.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a complete mystery to me. Serge buying this painting. It's unsettled me. It's filled me with some indefinable unease. When I left this place, I had to take 3 pellets of Gelsemium 9C, which Paula recommended. Gelsemium or Ignatia, she said. Gelsemium or Ignatia, which do you prefer? I mean, how the hell should I know? Because I couldn't begin to understand how my friend Serge could have bought that painting. 200,000 francs. He's comfortable, but he's not rolling in money. Just comfortable. That's all, just comfortable. And he spends 200 grand on a white painting. I have to go see Ivan. He's a friend of ours. I have to discuss this with Ivan. Although Ivan's a very tolerant guy, which of course, when it comes to relationships, is the worst thing you could be. If Ivan tolerates the fact that Serge has spent 200 grand on some piece of white shit, it means he couldn't care less about Serge, obviously.
Nice. I like it. I like it so much better. You have so much better understanding of that piece. There's only one little section that I want you to think about is the little drug section. You know, it's like, she made me take drugs. I don't even know what it was, but I mean, I was so upset. I had to take drugs. You know, it's that little section that demonstrates the degree of absurdity that he feels about the situation. Normally, he would never take anything that would do this. But yes, she told me, take it again from the top, one more time. Right.
And he does that. There's another, somewhere else in the play, I think it's where we do our scene, somewhere later, he's popping the Gelsemium to try and calm down or whatever. So, okay. It's a complete mystery to me. Serge buying this painting. It's unsettled me. It's filled me with some indefinable unease. When I left this place, I had to take 3 pellets of Gelsemium 9C, which Paula recommended. Gelsemium or Ignatia, she said. Gelsemium or Ignatia, which do you prefer? I mean, how the hell should I know? Because I couldn't begin to understand how Serge, my friend, could have bought that painting. 200,000 francs. He's comfortable, but he's not rolling in money. Comfortable, that's all. Just comfortable. And he spends 200 grand on a white painting. I got to go see Yvonne about this. Yvonne's a friend of ours. I have to discuss this with Yvonne. Although Yvonne's a very tolerant guy, which of course, when it comes to relationships, it's the worst thing you could be. If Yvonne tolerates the fact that Serge has spent 200 grand on some piece of white shit, it means he couldn't care less about Serge. Obviously.
John, I'm so proud of you, man. You have come so far in the year we've been working together. You have such a, it's so present tense. It's so present. It's so spontaneous and truthful. All of those things. I'm just really pleased with you, with this incredible growth that you've made. And it's interesting to see it because this was, I think, the first piece we did. I think this was the first piece you did when we first started working together over a year ago.
Yeah, and I had done it, you know, at Polaris. I had done it many times for many casting directors and directors like yourself who came into those and did those Wednesday night acting workshops, you know.
Yep. But it never felt like that, baby. That was beautiful. That was great. That was great. Listen, you all had a great night tonight, every one of you, and I'll look forward to next week, as I always do.
Oh, and Bill, I just want to also if you have an idea of a monologue that you think would fit me, I'm open. Please suggest something.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too, please.
You too.
Hey, Mel.
God.
You got to be very busy.
Yes, I know.
I'm here. All right.
All right. Good night, you guys.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Watch your playbacks. Watch your playbacks.
Will
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, John, for watching my lines.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bon
Vasily, for putting this together. Good night, everyone.
Great work, everybody. Yeah.
Yes,
Good night.
good work.
Bye.
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 Bye.